We'll be looking for points today. Braintree Town at the National League leaders York. York are 15 unbeaten. The Iron will be looking to try and upset that. And the defender Ben Drake, who's been involved in every match since joining on loan from the Millwall Academy, says he's really enjoying his time with the Iron.
Oh no, I'm really enjoying it. I think it's probably the best thing for me to be out on loan at the minute and put myself in the shop window. And I think obviously the gaffers put all trust in me to play, and I'm really grateful for that. And obviously played every minute so far, so cannot complain really. To be honest, I think I got interest from them in October time, I think, and obviously I wanted to go then, but Millwall blocked it at that time. And then come Christmas time, they said that they're happy for me to go. It came quite quick. They just gave me a phone call and said, "Look, Braintree want me to go in," and they said, "We're happy for you to go in tomorrow." That was it really, and I think I'm really enjoying it so far.
That's Ben Drake. We'll keep you up to date with the score from that game. We'll also keep tabs on what's happening elsewhere around the county for our Essex sides. Chelmsford City in the National South are at Horsham today, looking to follow up last weekend's win over Weston-super-Mare. We've got Brentwood at home to Dulwich in the Isthmian Prem. Averley are also at home against Cray Valley. Billericay are at second place Chatham, and bottom of the table Canby go to Whitehawk. Who are just outside the relegation zone, are up against fellow strugglers Welling. We've got games in the Isthmian North, the Essex Senior League, and elsewhere across the county to keep you up to date with. It's BBC Essex Sport, and it's 4 minutes to 3.
BBC Essex Sport.
Good afternoon to you from Victoria Polly on BBC Essex Sport till 6 o'clock with this on the way.
The U's are back at home for the first time since New Year's Day. Fleetwood Town are the opposition, and it's live on BBC Essex 103.5 FM and Freeview 716 with David Gregory and me, Neil Kelly.
In Lincolnshire, Southend United have travelled to Boston United in the National League as they look to make it 6 games unbeaten for the first time since August. Full commentary on 95.3 FM, DAB and the BBC Sport website with former Blues midfielder Glenn Pennyfather and me, Warren Muggleton.
We'll keep you up to date with the score involving Braintree Town at York in the National League as well. Scores from elsewhere around the county to bring you on the programme too. But it's time to choose your match here on BBC Essex Sport 103.5 FM and Freeview 716 for Colchester United at home to Fleetwood in League 2, and on 95.3 FM, DAB and the BBC Sport website and app. You can listen to Southend United at Boston in the National League. It's BBC Essex Sport, and it is 2 minutes to 3.
BBC Essex Sport.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Jakeman's Community Stadium in the heart of Lincolnshire, where Southend United have travelled to take on Boston United in the National League. There is something of a biting cold in the air on this cloudless sky as we go towards the northeast coast of the country. And for Southend United, there's been something cold about the ruthlessness with which they've gone about these recent performances as they look to make it 6 games unbeaten in all competitions for the first time since August. The Pilgrims, though, will feel a bit frostbitten as they have been without a win at home in their last 9 games and without a win in all competitions in 8 games. But a man who are hoping to warm the hearts of the home fans is Paul Hurst, returning for his first home game as manager, having taken over from Graham Coughlin earlier this month. Question is, can Southend keep up their ruthless streak as the players switch ends? Joining me and braving the cold on the road, as always, former Blues midfielder Glenn Pennyfather. Glenn, only the one change for Southend, with Nathan Ralph missing out due to that strain. So Joe Gubbins coming in, which feels like great reward for him to stay in this side amid Ben Goodliff's return to action. We are going to have a moment's silence, actually. So before I come to you, Glenn, we will have this moments of silence.
Billy Howells won 5 league championships and 8 cups during his 572 appearances from 1965 to 1975. So please stand if you are able and join us in a minute's applause to begin and end on the referee's whistle in memory of a proud man, a Boston United hero, Billy Howells.
moment for Boston United to remember former midfielder Jimmy Howells, who passed away recently. Let's bring in former Blues midfielder Glenn Pennyfather as Southend get ready to kick off. They've been on such a great run, and like you say, you feel like everybody's coming into a purple patch. But what are the dangers to be aware of against this Boston United team?
Yeah, I think you've got to treat each game on its own merits. You know, Boston are obviously looking to get a victory. They're close to the relegation zone. They haven't had particularly great home form this season. We know that. But as I said earlier on, Warren, every game's tough in this league. You've got to bring it to the party every game. But Blues are in good form, and as I mentioned, there's a number of individuals have really hit form recently. You know, we've spoken about Leon Parallon, but Gus Scott Morris back on the scoring sheet, and then you've got Andrew Dallas coming back in assist, and the midfield are working really well, the three in midfield. So lots of pluses for Blues.
Southend United with the kick-off. Parallon back to Gubbins, who attempted the ball high from left to right. Southend United in their blue shirts and shorts and white socks, playing from left to right. The goalkeeper in green. Boston United in their yellow shirts, black shorts and yellow socks, playing from right to left. The keeper in a patterned white shirt and shorts and grey socks. I'll run you through the teams once the ball is brought to ground. It's Boston United. Parallon able to take away from Maguire. Kendall first time into Dallas. The clearance though will be back to Charlie Kendall, driving at the Boston defence. Boys on his left, on the edge of the penalty area, puts it into the middle, cleared away by Stockton. Scott Morris on the volley, but over the crossbar, and it will be a goal kick. 44 seconds, that's all it's taken for Southend to have their first shot on goal, but it's wide of the mark.
Yeah, he was unlucky, Gus Scott Morris. He just popped out to him on the edge of the box. Difficult technique. He's taken it first time on the half volley, just got slightly underneath it, but it was a good break, wasn't it? It's just a shame. That first ball to Charlie Kendall, great vision, just try to help it round the corner into the runner Dallas in this right hand channel first time. It didn't come off, but he picked up the rebound, didn't he? Drove forward, ball out wide to Boys crossed, partially cleared, decent strike from Gus Scott Morris just over the bar.
One change for Southend from the 4-1 win over Eastleigh, and Dengendy in goal. Back three of Harry Taylor, Ben Goodliff and Joe Gubbins. Cav Miley, the captain, in front of the defence. Harry Boys on the left, Scott Morris on the right. Leon Parallon on a Coker in midfield, with Andy Dallas and Charlie Kendall leading the line. As Joe Gubbins lifts this ball down the left wing and far side in front of those Southend fans, intercepted by the Boston defenders. They are lined up with the new goalkeeper Andy Rogan in goal, but they're breaking down the left wing. This is Hill. They have a back four: Lavinia, Gallagher, Teal and Carson. Two City midfielders, Richard and captain Sloggett, who's on the ball. Arbo on the right wing, Hill on the left, Maguire in at number 10 and John Lewis leading the line.
Always a handful, John Lewis, as well, isn't he? I mean, he's such a huge, strong lad. I mean, he's a difficult opponent to deal with.
Yeah, joined from York City over the summer. Was a League 2 runner-up at Bury in 2011. He's had over 250 EFL appearances to his name. Very experienced player. As attack from Boston down their right wing on the far side dissipates, Joe Gubbins able to intercept, and Dengendy's clearing kick didn't get quite the purchase on it he wanted. With a header tennis ends with Southend's Coker bringing the balls to ground, draws the foul off the Pilgrims captain in his own half. It'll be a free kick for Southend.
Yeah, not quite sure what happened with Colin there. I mean, he wasn't the best of first touches. He weren't under a great deal of pressure, but he looked like he was just stretching through his clearance. He sort of partially cleared it. He sort of dropped into the middle of Blues half, and thankfully Ollie Coker was the first to the ball and just got fouled by his opponent. But it's a strange old distribution from Colin.
And he's kept Boston guessing as he went short with his free kick. Gubbins into Boys down the left wing. Poke to Parallon. Outside the penalty area on the left side, taking on two players. Wants to get down the byline, but Lavinia getting between the man and the ball and clearing for the home side. To Southend's Taylor, but his touch met by Linnell John Lewis. Maguire can't get a boot on the ball, and it will fall kindly to Gubbins of Southend, back to his keeper in Dengendy.
Yeah, such as his form recently, Leon Parallon. I think we're both expecting him to beat his two opponents really tight on the byline. Leon Parallon, he tried that little trick where he just rolls his foot around the ball, doesn't he, and drags it back on himself, but unfortunately it didn't come off on this occasion. But we've come to expect a lot over a couple of games from Leon Parallon.
Early goal at the Crown Oil Arena. Rochdale leading Truro City 1-0. Their first game back at home with their new surface on the field, where Southend will be playing on Tuesday.
I hope it's not raining.
I hope not. We'll keep an eye on the weather.
I was gonna say.
Boys with an in cut against Arbo. Ball is lifted towards Kendall on the shoulder of the defender Teal. They head into Dallas, but Clay continues to Miley, left edge of the penalty area, into the penalty area. Kendall on the turn, might put it on his left foot to shoot, but slips as he takes it. Lavigne in close quarters as well, with the clearance by Teal, blocked by Kendall. Might fall to Parallon, but a hook from Maguire gives it back to the Southend defence. And you can clearly Boston trying to get on the ball quickly and move it high, but Southend a bit more composure in these early stages.
Yeah, I mean, Kendall offers that something a little bit different to the other strikers, that he wants to run in behind. You know, a lot of the other strikers for Blues want to come short and link up play, but Kendall's looking to be on the last man's shoulder. He's looking to get him behind, and that's what happened to start with. The original ball, he stretched the defender. The centre half struggled to head it. He didn't clear it. It's gone out to I think it was it Boyes on that left hand side. Boyes has put the ball in, and Kendall was unlucky that he turned sharply and the space opened up for him, and he was unlucky that he couldn't get his strike away, because Tavernier had come all across from that right back position. But he looks sharp, Charlie Kendall.
He does. Whistle just blowing for offside from the assistant Andrew Ayler. It's Charlie Kendall starting in offside position, throwing down this near wing from left to right by Southend. Dallas with a back flick on the back of his right heel, and Kendall just the wrong side of the defence as he came to head it into a 1-2.
And that is
clever. It just emphasises what you're saying about Charlie Kendall.
Well, that is
really
exactly
sharp.
what happens though. When you work off the last man's shoulder, you are going to be caught offside at times, and that was one of those occasions.
Manchester City are leading Wolves 1-0. An early goal at the Etihad. It's Harry Taylor's attempted clearing header. Falls to the feet of Hill of Boston. All off the chest of John Lewis into the penalty area, but Southend's Gubbins clearing away. Met by Teal, but his header to Cav Miley. Dragged off the ball by Hill, and that is spotted by the referee, despite the appeals of Dylan Hill. The referee awarding another free kick for Southend.
Yeah, Cav is another player. We're talking about players coming into form. You know, Ollie Coker, obviously Liam Parallon. We spoke about Gus Scott Morris and Dallas. You know, his number, Joe Gubbins obviously needs to be mentioned in that as well. And Harry Taylor never goes out of form, does he? But you know, Cav Miley, we're seeing more of the Cav Miley we see when he won the Player of the Year, that 2 or 3 seasons ago. He's really come back into it, and he's playing a pivotal role in that midfield at the moment.
5 minutes into the LNER Community Stadium, York City already 1-0 up against Braintree. Ollie Pearce, the top scorer in the league, finding the net. Harry Boyes struggling to keep the ball in play under the pressure of Lavigne. His clearance off the arm of Leon Parallon.
That looked out of play, didn't it? I think Harry Boyes is still asking the question. I think there was a gasp from the crowd as well. I'm not sure what the assistant referees see. It looked like it had gone out for a corner for Blues, but the referee played on, and then the ball gets transferred and a handball by Parallon. But Harry Boyes weren't particularly happy with the referee.
So the debut goalkeeper Andy Wogan with a kick from right to left onto Southend Scott Morris, who gets into the middle of it. But Maguire attempting to combine with Carson. Boston winning it back on the edge of Southend's final third. Hill attempting to thread to John Lewis. But it's Arbo, he tries to poke into Till, who'd made the run from the left wing. Fans behind the Pilgrims goal calling for a penalty, but Judge tripped over the ball, and then Dengandy able to collect that before it goes over the byline.
I think he threw himself on the floor, to be perfectly honest, Warren. And interesting to see that I was going to say that they'd done their homework, Boston, but they are isolated. They seem to be isolating Gus Scott Morris with Hill from restarts, certainly in their own half. But they obviously haven't seen how good Gus Scott Morris is in the air.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame them for doing that. He's looking to have 6 consecutive games with a goal contribution for the first time in his career. Andy Dallas has drawn a foul on the edge of the centre circle just inside Boston's half. Yeah, I suspect he might have taken a whack to the nose.
He has taken a whack in the face, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's looking a bit bright red, even from here.
He'll be okay. It's just the unfortunate thing now, he's going to have to go off the pitch.
Yeah, Southend will be down temporarily to 10 men. Andy Dallas scored the equaliser for Southend in that 1-1 draw against Boston United. Jack Bridger with the penalty, but from the rebound, Dallas striking first in that game.
Yeah, just looking at Boston, the way they set up with the 4-2-3-1, really, isn't it? And they've looked to try and stretch Blues wide in these early stages, and obviously Linnell John Lewis is a real focal point for him, isn't he? If they can get the ball to him, and it's going to be a great battle between him and Ben Goodliff this afternoon. But But looking at how it started, you've got to limit that, and Blues' intensity in their play over the last couple of games has done that. We see that at York, didn't we, that they really stopped the ball into Stones and Pearce, and they sort of like suffocated that play by York, and they've got to do very similar today with Boston to make sure that they don't get any service into John Lewis.
So Andy Dallas on his feet, making his way over to the technical area with John Gowans just to get some treatment on his nose. No goals after 9.5 minutes between Boston United and Southend United here on BBC Essex 95.3 FM DAB and the BBC Sport websites. We'll keep you across all those other scores as well. FC Halifax Town leading Eastleigh 1-0 at the Silver Lake Stadium. Scott Morris with his free kick, edge of the centre circle, right to left towards the far wing. Headed on by Joe Gubbins. Boys with the cross first time from left to right, and Carlton decides to head back to his keeper. Goodliff tries to sneak in, but his first touch a bit heavy, takes it over the byline. It'll be a goal kick. Little miscommunication there between the left back and the new goalkeeper for the home side.
Wasn't really certain what Carlton was trying to do actually, because the header, normally in those situations you just help it on, you just head it as far away from your goal as possible out wide, but Carlson tried to head it. Did he try to head that back to the goalkeeper?
Yeah, he did.
I didn't know whether he tried to be that clever, that he tried to cushion it for himself in his own penalty area, but it did loop up, but the first man to the ball was Ben Goodliff, but his touch was a tad heavy, should we say.
As was that goal kick from the new keeper, Andrew Wogan.
Also
straight bounced it. I think it bounced outside the field.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Andy Dallas is back on the field though. Good news. Ball goes out, Andy Dallas comes in. Scott Morris with the throw-in for Southend. He winds up in front of Kevin Mayer. Finds Charlie Kendall's head, tries to bring in Parallon, but intercepted by Morgan Richards. And Aladale John Lewis able to turn away from Harry Taylor, but a sneak in from Cav Miley pokes it back to Ndengendi. And the Southend goalkeeper's high ball does sit up in the air. It will land just shy of the centre circle inside Southend's half. Parallon wanting to win a foul from Richards as he turned away from the man and the ball, but right in front of the referee, James Westgate. But nothing given, and Boston take possession back to their defence. Carson, infield to Sloggett, his captain. Forward to Maguire, but beyond him, and Taylor intercepting for Southend. Miley to the centre circle where Taylor chases it down. To Gubbins on the left wing in front of that decreasing sunlight on the field. Boys, left side of the penalty area. Cuts inside before putting the cross in. Dallas on the outside of the field. It goes from left to right. Scott Morris had made the run into the penalty area. Now wants the overlapping run from Coker. Attempted the thread into Dallas. Intercepted by Boston Sloggett. And his long ball is over the head of John Lewis. Back to the keeper in Ndengendi. Patient build-up from Southend.
Yeah, but the ball should have come in from Harry Boyes. He was in a perfect position. He could use the opponent's body just to shape it round. Blues had 4 or 5 players driving into the penalty area. It was the perfect opportunity. He didn't take it.
Dylan Hill winning possession on the left wing for Boston. They win the throw-in and take it quickly into John Lewis. Tries to flick to Maguire inside the penalty area. Goodliff clearing. Can't get it out of his own half as Sloggett picks it up. Colchester United with a 1-0 lead over Fleetwood Town in League 2. That's on 103.5 FM and Freeview 716. Richards and Lavinia combining. That has to go back to Oyston Gallagher, the loanee from Lincoln City. Short trip from the Imps. Again, Kendall blocking another long ball, and he gets a rapturous applause from the travelling Southend faithful on the far side.
Yeah, great work from Kendall. They're the sort of things that snowball, that really pick the side up.
So what, Altrincham with a 1-0 lead over Boreham Wood at Moss Lane. Which is good news. Boston keeping possession, but keeping it in the air, and it comes to ground. Scott Morris winning it, and Dylan Hill conceding another foul. It'll be Southend that can build from the back just outside their own penalty area. No goals after 13 minutes.
Tighten up for Hill already, isn't it, in terms of free kicks he's given away. Second or third time that he's been given a foul away on Gascott Morris.
Dylan Hill, it's his 3rd season with the Pilgrims, formerly of the Norwich City Academy. And Ndengendi's long kick doesn't find Dallas. And now Marcel Lavinier of Boston United down the right wing, but Gubbins covering ahead of Ken Arbo.
Good decision as
well. Might be a familiar name to BBC Essex listeners. Made 2 appearances on a loan spell from Norwich at Colchester United last season.
Yeah, it's a good decision from Gubbins. You know, there's always that temptation to go back to your goalkeeper, but he was under a lot of pressure, and Abu was at full pace. So if he'd have headed that back to Colin, he would have been under all sorts of pressure, because Abu would have been after the ball that he'd headed back. But so he made a good decision just to clear his lines.
Sloggett and Carson combine. Great room for Hill down the left wing. Back to Sloggett. Threads it to the left side of the penalty area. Maguire chasing, but Scott Morris of Southend there first. We'll look to hoof this down the right wing, but Hill steals the ball on the wing. Maguire, left side of the penalty area, wants to cut past one, past two. Miley. Wow, a yellow card for the Boston United midfielder Frankie Maguire for simulation inside the penalty area. Cav Miley was the one jumping in for the challenge, pretty much left corner of the penalty area. Cut infield, moved the ball to the right. Cav Miley with the tackle, and the referee says that Frankie Maguire simulated the foul.
Well, let me tell you something. The referee is 5 yards away. The people that are up in arms, probably close around us, we're probably 60, 70 yards away from the incident. So I think the referee got it right. There was no argument from any other player. We speak about that, don't we? Players' reactions. The only player that argued was the player who was the perpetrator.
Frankie Maguire, his first yellow card of the season. Scored the first goal in Southend's last visit to the Jatemans, that 3-0 win back in March last year. From Colin Day's kick, Southend keeping it in the air, but Kendall can't find a way to Dallas. As it makes its way over the halfway line, Lionel John Lewis for Boston. First time pass from Frankie Maguire. Goodliff wants an offside, and he will get it as Ken Arbo made a powerful run from right to left, but throws his hands up in the air in frustration as the offside flag goes up, and it'll be Southend to restart. I'm noticing, Glenn, Southend have a bit of physicality in the midfield, but they're struggling to get the ball from Kendall into Dallas, just because I don't know if it's mismatch in front of the defence, but just not finding each other at the moment.
I think that it hasn't really settled down. There's no pattern to the game at the moment. The space is all for Harry Boyes at the moment for Blues in terms of opportunity out on the left hand side. But just going back to that last point where Ben Goodliff was very assured that he was offside, all that can be is great communication from Joe Gubbins, because he's the last man. He'll work off the inside of Ben Goodliff's shoulder, and he's his eyes, and he's obviously screaming at Ben Goodliff, stand up. He's running offside. The lad's run offside, and Ben Goodliff's hand's gone straight up. The boy was in behind him, but fair play to the defence. Great line, good communication.
Ball from left to right by Boston's Carson, finds Arbo, brings in Lavinia with an overlapping run down the right wing on the far side, taking on Southend's Harry Boyes. Will take it to the corner, but Boyes stopping him in his tracks 5 yards away from the byline. As Parallon helps, Lavinia carries it over the byline. It will be a goal kick.
Yeah, interesting to see that original crossfield ball. Harry Boyes didn't make a challenge for it. I think what you were saying, that the sun was right in his eye, because the sun's probably just above us over this main stand, and it's going from left to right on a diagonal onto the Blues left back position, and Harry Boyes, no challenge whatsoever. Eventually he deals with the lad in that wide left area for Blues, and just with a helping hand from Parallon, the lad runs out of space, and it's a goal kick.
An army of substitutes making their way out of their technical areas to my left to get warmed up this cold day. Paul Hurst has made his way out as well. Previously joint manager with Rob Scott for 2 years, had a 60% win rate and won the Northern Premier League Premier Division playoffs 16 years ago. Sloggett winning the ball for Boston. It's John Lewis, pushes Harry Taylor in the back, and that draws the whistle of James Westgate, and that's the 6th foul by Boston United in the first 18 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it was a foul. I mean, it was quite blatant, wasn't it, really, from John Lewis? I mean, he's give Harry Taylor a little shove. As we said, he's a strong lad, but you can't have any complaints about that. Yeah, with the game, just looking at the balls going forward, you were saying, that's where you miss Cardwell. That's where Dallas is challenging, but he's not Harry Cardwell in the air, and that's where you miss his presence. That's for certain. But Blues have just got to settle down. As I said, Boyes has got a lot of space out on the left-hand side if they can get the ball to him.
Well, maybe they get to Parallon, who's gone beyond Morgan Richards for Boston. Now into Harry Boyes. He'll get there before it goes over the byline. First time cross aimed at Andy Dallas. 1-0 Southend United. Andy Dallas's first real sniff at goal with his bloody nose, and he finds the bottom right corner, and he scores his first goal in 14 games. And how good that will feel for Andy Dallas. Boston United 0, Southend United 1.
Who has all the space? Oh, it's Harry Boyes on that left-hand side. But they get the ball out to him, and he's still got a lot to do, to be fair, because he's got to put a quality ball into a good area, and he's done that. But you have to give credit to Leon Parallon as well. He's picked the ball up halfway inside the Boston half, wide on that left-hand side. He's drove forward, which has created even more space for Harry Boyes. A little reverse ball, absolute perfect pace on it. Boyes has come onto it and just stood it up at the back post. And Andy Dallas has still got to dispatch it, but it is a super header into the far post to give Blues an early lead. Fantastic goal from Blues. Great build-up, great finish.
The first goal that Southend United scored away against Boston for nearly 22 years, going all the way back to their Division 3 days.
Wow.
Big moment for Southend.
And it was a good one.
It was a good one. It was beautifully built up.
It was.
As well.
Yep.
That's what Southend have been trying to construct in the opening minutes, and then when Boston just sat off them a little bit, and Leon Parallon accelerated at pace, as you say, with Boyes having all that space.
Yeah, it's being able to when you're out there as a footballer, you've got to be your own eyes. You know, you can't be spoon-fed everything from the touchline. You've got to see what's happening, and there's got to be voices out there to say, look, we've got a load of space out on this left-hand side. If we can get that ball out to Harry Boyes, we're going to cause them all sorts of problems. And that's exactly what's happening. It happened early doors in a couple of occasions, and then they stopped doing it. But now, obviously, they've worked the ball out there, and Blues have reaped the rewards.
And Dengendy, the high kick, straight down the middle of the field. Oyson Gallagher for Boston United with the header into Lavinier. His clearance on the turn as far as Southend's Boyes. Now Arbo bustling in to put him off, but is able to turn back with composure to Gubbins. And the Boyes has created space for himself down the left wing, beyond Arbo. Dallas on his outside in front of those Southend fans. Infield to Leon Parallon, taking on Richards. Cuts in, has Miley behind him, the captain today for Southend. Joe Gubbins on his left, Boyes with space again, left side of the penalty area, into Andy Dallas in the penalty area, once on his right boot, but the shot is blocked by Morgan Richards, and that will spin away towards Boston's left wing. Matty Carson with the first time pass into Linnell Lewis, but it goes beyond him. Southend's Ben Goodliff straight to Ollie Coker. There might be spaces to capitalise on again for Southend. High ball to the left wing. Boyes has an overlapping run from Gubbins, but decides to take it himself. Parallon, edge of the D, first time attempted to Dallas, intercepted by Richard. Now Boyes with a shot, and it spins towards the right side of goal. Harry Boyes, I know he's attempted a couple of those shots from distance. He's still setting his sights for the season, though, and it's a goal kick.
He troubled the cameraman by the corner flag more than he troubled the goal with that strike. but yeah, we don't mind it, do we? We don't mind Blues when they get the sight of goal, pulling that trigger. Just looking at Ollie Coker, and you've heard me say it as well before, Warren, just checking your shoulder, getting on the half turn as a midfield player. Ollie Coker did that so well there. Just before he's received the ball, he's just checked his shoulder, he's got on the half turn, he's taken the ball with his back foot, and that creates that play, because his first look and his first touch is forward, and that creates that momentum for Blues going forward. But again, you know, it's a boo. That's the problem when you play essentially a forward player out in that sort of area as part of a three just behind the main striker.
Lavinier is under pressure from Leon Parallon.
If he doesn't do his defensive responsibilities, a boo.
Yeah,
Warren. That's why. Yeah, obviously Harry Boyes is getting all that space.
Canabo joining on loan from the Norwich City Academy, his first game against Southend. As a throw-in to be taken by Marcel Lavinier. We mentioned Andy Dallas, the scorer. 4 goal contributions for him now across these 2 games. Arbo down, dragged down by Harry Boyes, according to the referee, on the right wing for Boston far side. It'll be a free kick, 15 yards from the halfway line, hugging the right wing.
Yeah, it's just trying to see. Did Harry Boyes? No, he's okay. I thought Harry Boyes had come away from that challenge with the limp, but he seems okay. Braintree
Town receiving a battering in the opening minutes at the LNER, 3-0 down against York City. You do worry for the team that are the lowest scorers in the National League. Free kick for Boston, Frankie Maguire with his right boot towards the middle of the penalty area. Goodliff gets his head onto it to make sure it bounces over the left wing, so it'll be a throw-in for the home side. First time they've been in the final third of Southend for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, and important when you're sort of like territorially, you've got the advantage that Blues have had in these opening exchanges. Then it's important your concentration, your focus is spot on when you got to do your defending.
Falls to slog it. It's initially clear by Southend. Carson with the cross aimed at John Lewis. Again, Goodliff with the climbing header. Maguire in the penalty area there first. This touch bounces off Ollie Coker. Go infield, he wanted the run from Richards, but intercepted by Southend's Leon Parallon, who has Scott Morris on his right, but Scott Morris not quite reading that ball, and it bounces out of play, and it will be another throw for Boston on the left wing on this near side.
Thought we was going to see one of them trademark Leon Parallon runs then, because he had opened up for him centrally, but he decided to pass it out to this right hand side and just completely miscued it, didn't he? Played it far too far in front of Gus Scott Morris.
Maybe after a moment's hesitation he would have seen an option down the left wing where it has already proved profitable.
Yeah. Just going on Goodliff winning that header, you know, just made you think, you know, if you're going to make a case for Ben Goodliff coming back into the team, you know, is his dominance in his ability to win headers like that, not just in your own penalty area, but in the imposing penalty area where he's a real threat from set plays. Yeah,
Harry Taylor and Scott Morris miscuing.
Yeah, just having a go at them. Harry Taylor doesn't get that often, does he? Kevin having a go at him, but yeah, he should have put that in the channel. He's tried to pick out a delicate pass to Gus Scott Morris, and you got the slide rule out, but unfortunately got the maths all wrong.
Harry Taylor, guest on the Fans Football phone-in last night with Glenn, as he wins the battle against Linnell John Lewis to get to the ball and get it back to Ndeng Ndee. Really good interview actually with Harry. Said a lot about how tight-knit the group is and how everybody can do a job.
Yeah.
Feels like a really together unit at the moment from Southend.
And I love the thing, you know, good defenders love defending, and he said exactly that. You know, he loves defending, he loves being out there, loves clean sheets, and you know, he's been fantastic for Blues, and obviously the change of position. Remember, he was a midfield player.
Yeah, it's a well-trodden path, as Paul Clark was saying.
Yeah.
Oh, his 150th appearance against Eastleigh in the week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, this ball might spin outside the penalty area, and Ndeng Ndee will ensure that it's guided with safety over the byline. 25 minutes played. Boston United 0, Southend United 1. Here on BBC Essex, Warren Muggleton and Glenn Pennyfather watching this one for you, as the sunlight was a blanket earlier in the day. It's more of a sliver out on the far side, with the long shadow from the west stand which we're sat in makes its way across. Still cloudless, gorgeous winter's day in Lincolnshire, and Southend revelling in it. And Ndeng Ndee's goal kick will spin out to this right wing. Scott Morris can't keep it in. There is clearly a bit of wind whistling around at the higher levels.
Yeah, there's been a few that have been held up as well, isn't it? I keep looking at the trees on the far side above the stand, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of movement in them, but certainly one or two of Collins' kicks have held up in the middle of the park, and that one has been taken from sort of left to right.
Eastleigh with an equaliser against Halifax Town. That's 1-1 at the Silver Lake. While Brighton leading Fulham 1-0 in West London. Lavigne's carried the ball a long way down Boston's right wing on the far side. Morgan Richards behind him. Into Sloggett. First time crossing to the penalty area, but onto the head of Joe Gubbins. Clearance forward by Oyson Gallagher, but Ben Goodliff again winning a header. This ball bounces between Parallon and Lavigny. It's Parallon that pokes forward, and he's found a way to Andy Dallas. He wants to thread it to Kendall, but a big sliding tackle from Gallagher gets Boston United back in possession.
That's an early ball in that channel. Charlie Kendall has made a great run. He would have outstripped the two defenders, no problem whatsoever, but Andy Dallas needed to see that, just stick it straight in the channel first time.
Arbos found Maguire, first time into the middle. Linnell Lewis, John Lewis 1-0. And Boston United thread away through the Southend defence. Linnell John Lewis with a 12th goal of the season, and he probably won't get an easier one than that. Southend United's lead lasting just under 10 minutes. Boston United 1, Southend United 1.
Yeah, just seemed to switch off Blues, didn't they, defensively? I mean, that come from the Andy Dallas losing possession on that far side, just on the halfway line, and he lost that possession. The ball got transferred very quick, and as I say, Blues were really sloppy with their defending. They got caught cold, and it was Linnell John Lewis has dispatched the ball. We said how experienced he is, and you're giving them sort of chances, he's going to gobble them up.
And now John Lewis had been a doubt due to an injury to his groin, but he's come back into the Pilgrims side and pounced to put them back on level terms at the Jatemans. All square. There's still plenty of time in this game in Lincolnshire. 28 minutes played, and Southend get ready to start again. And then just that little bit of complacency, perhaps.
Well, they just seem to fall asleep. The ball got transferred. It's difficult. Obviously, we don't get the luxury of seeing a replay. But look, the Blues were really lax with their marking in and around their own penalty area, and you can't be that. You've got to be spot on.
Scott Morris has found a way to Kendall, won't go beyond Gallagher, but his clearance to Harry Boyes, edge of the penalty area, shooting, but blocked by Gallagher. and cleared away. Almost an instant response from Southend. Arbo down the right wing, wants to get beyond Harry Boyes and will. Infield to Linnell John Lewis. Out to the left wing where there's space for Carson to drive forward. First time cross of his left boot, but Glenn Goodliff clearing away for Southend. Straight to Carson again. This time threaded to Maguire on his own in the penalty area. Turning away and shooting. And John Lewis almost had a flick header as he came into the penalty area, but straight to the gloves of Ndeng. And Boston United have found their attacking threat.
Yeah, and Linnell John Lewis is the man involved in it all. He's the catalyst for it, isn't he? And he's certainly having a huge influence at the moment.
And all of a sudden Boston moving the ball quickly. Out to Carson again, down the left wing on this near side. Boston attacking from right to left. Back to Sloggett. Richards near side of the centre circle as they move it from left to right. Boyce and Gallagher decides to change the direction. And go back to Connor Teal, former teammate of Harry Boyes. Spent 3 years at Fleetwood Town, where Harry Boyes had a loan spell from the Sheffield United Academy. This time the high ball from Carson down the left wing won't be chased down by Hill over the byline for a goal kick.
Yeah, Gus Scott Morris see that, didn't he? He'd read that ball over the top of him, and he'd dealt with that before Hill could get a march on him.
And Ndeng putting the ball down to ground with a somewhat of a lugubrious look in his eye. Without a clean sheet now in 5 games. The last one, the 1-0 win over Sutton United. Boston winning possession back on the halfway line. And a touch from a Southend boot. Does it go out on the left wing? It'll be a throw in for the home side.
Yeah, just watching Kevin. He's had 1 or 2 words with Ollie Coker, and then with Andy Dallas, he wasn't happy with something.
Coker's given away a foul on Sloggett on the left wing, 15 yards from the halfway line.
Yeah, they immediately haven't. Ollie's committed a foul there, and immediately Kevin turned to the bench and got 3 people warming up. So he doesn't seem over happy with what's going on out there at the moment, and he would have been disappointed with that goal because it seemed really easy for Boston to make their way into Blues penalty area, and then obviously the finish from John Lewis was obviously a decent finish, but he seemed to have a lot of time, a lot of space.
Frankie Maguire, who provided the assist with this free kick, wearing his bright pink boots. It'll be a right-footed free kick as the referee, James Westgate, make sure he's in the right place to assess all the players. Carson making his way over now. He might get involved for a left-footed kick, but no, it will be Maguire over the ball. Carson with the left-footed kick from left to right, and again Goodliff has to clear away. Parallon first to it for Southend. His high clearance to find the halfway line. Carson away from Charlie Kendall, and now Charlie Kendall's been penalised for the foul on Carson as he'd already played the ball. Just according to assistant Andrew Aylett, left a little bit too much in.
Didn't touch him. You watch, he's up, he'll walk away. Charlie Kendall didn't touch him, Warren.
5 fouls for Southend, 6 for Boston. Certainly a game where the players are throwing everything at it to win the ball back. 4th official David Jones is ensuring that Kevin Mayer and Darren Curry stay in their technical area.
Yeah, I think Darren Curry was just saying to Carson that he didn't need to do that, and I mean they're both laughing about it, but I think everybody knew, apart from the referee and the assistant referee, that Carson hadn't been touched and just thrown himself on the floor.
Short down the left wing, exchange with Arbo. It's played into the penalty area. Teal winning it. Still in the penalty area. It's a real mess. Maguire with the shot, blocked by Southend's Ollie Coker, and Ali Dallas looks to come away. His clearance will go over the wing, and this is a real wave of momentum for Boston.
Yeah, I mean they're struggling to deal with the set plays. I mean Goodliff has got on the end of a couple of them and dealt with it, but on that occasion it was kept alive in the Blues penalty area, and it was the old ricochet everywhere, wasn't it? And in the end it was hacked clear by Andy Dallas, but they're under a bit of pressure, Blues.
Hill back to Carson, first time cross, almost miscued by Harry Taylor. Maguire will get there first for Boston. He tries to play it into the penalty area. It's off Scott Morris, and it will be our first corner kick of the game. This one to Boston United.
Yeah, and the goal has clearly lifted Boston. It's given them a bit of belief, isn't it? And they're having a real go at the moment, and Blues are having to defend for their lives in their own penalty area.
Boston have had He struggles at home, the second worst home record in the National League, only 8 points from 13 games, that's 2 wins. Might think about playing the corner short, it is to Carson, he'll play it across the penalty area. Maguire with the shot, left of goal. Training ground move,
Clever.
Into Maguire, but he's dragged it across the left of goal, and it will be a goal kick. Still 1-1.
Yeah, clever little move, wasn't it, by Boston? Credit to them. They've clearly worked on that. New manager coming in, new ideas. Paul Hurst, a short corner, and then the ball played onto the edge of the penalty area, near side, and Maguire coming onto it and just dragged his strike. He had a clear sight goal, just dragged his strike wide of Colin Endy's goal.
Rochdale leading Truro City 2-0. York City extending their lead over Braintree Town to 4-0. And Dengandy's goal kick met by Boston's Gallagher. Heads it to the right wing for Arbo to chase. But Gubbins will get there first for Southend. Boys loses the ball, and John Lewis in for Boston. Tries to feed Arbo, but Parallon sneaking in. Pokes into Kendall, but intercepted by Lavigne. Boston on the attack again. Maguire first time to John Lewis. Just brings the pace down into Arbo. He's outside the penalty area to shoot right-footed. Blocked by the back of Ben Goodliff, and Southend's Coker clears away. Kendall wants to turn from Gallagher, but a heavy touch, and Lavigne back to the goalkeeper Wogan. Still 1-1, but a very open game all of a sudden.
Well, Boston look a half a yard sharper than Blues at the moment. They're quicker to the ball, they're quicker to the closing down now. They seem to have shored up that space on the Blues left-hand side. Harry Boyes doesn't seem to be getting much space, so clearly something's been
offside flag.
Yeah, something's been said. So Boston look a little bit sharper than Blues at the moment.
Offside flag against Linnell John Lewis. And the latest build-up. So a restart which Ben Goodliff will take about 20 yards from the halfway line to the far side of the centre circle. We approach the last 10 minutes of normal time at the Jatemans. Boston 1, Southend 1 here on BBC Essex. Still 1-0 to Colchester over Fleetwood at the job serve. High ball from left to right by Goodliff. Had it snuck off the head of just Scott Morris, and Dallas couldn't chase it down. There will be a throw in for Boston. Carlson attempting to win a few extra yards.
There's a
few extra wing.
About 25 extra.
Matty Carlson, who
he's still taking
joined from Grimsby over the summer. Slog it, lifting, but Cav Miley intercepting for Southend. Just on the back foot at the moment.
Yeah, and Kevin looks frustrated as well. I mean, it's, Blues giving the ball away.
Excellent touch from Coker and Parallon combining. Harry Boyes has come in field, has Kendall out on his left. He's into the penalty area, taking on Lavigne. Boyes will get to that ball, but it's still outside the penalty area. Sharp reflexes from Lavigne, but Southend still in possession. Boyes gets his head up and puts a cross in, aimed at the far post. It goes beyond Coker and Scott Morris. They all hesitated for a moment because of the movement of Greg Sloggett to come back in, and the ball ends up bouncing across the penalty area, and we go full circle, throw into Boston on this near wing.
Yeah, it was a decent enough ball, wasn't it? Whipped in by Harry Boyes into a great area. I thought Ollie could have attacked it. It looked like he went to attack it and then took a step backwards, and the ball flashed across the face of him, and Gus Scott Morris just a shade late getting into the penalty area on that occasion. But another super ball. Harry Boyes again finding that space on the left hand side, decent ball into the penalty area. First time Blues have been an attacking force since the goal from Boston.
Absolutely. Gus Scott Morris winning that header for Southend. As Carlson keeps it in, he knew it would be a Southend throw-in. Maguire with the header along the halfway line into Hill. Had space to turn and a volley pass downfield, but straight to Southend's Taylor as Miley and Gubbins move this down the left wing. Kendall will try to win that head of Gallagher, and the offside flags against Kendall. So both sides with two offsides.
Who was offside?
Charlie Kendall might have been. That confused me though, because his run was arching.
He started the other side.
Maybe it's Andy Dallas, but Eddie wasn't involved. All of it means a restart for Boston, their new lone goalkeeper, Andrew Wogan. A month on loan at Chester in the National League North, 4 appearances for them. Joined from the Stockport County ranks. His kick straight down the middle. Joe Gubbins of Southend with that header as it comes to ground. Boys pushed by Arbo, and it will be a free kick for Southend outside their own penalty area.
It's all a bit scruffy at the moment, isn't it? I mean, Boston won't mind that at all, and Blues will want to get the ball down and play, but clearly Boston at present are making it very, very difficult for Southend, because they're closing down really sharply. They're not giving Blues any time on the ball, and Blues are struggling really to get any good possession.
Felt a lot like it did back in March when we came. Arbo dragged down to ground by Joe Gubbins, who will go into the book. Yellow card as he drags Arbo down to the ground, far side of the centre circle, and a free kick for Boston.
Yeah, Joe Gubbins trying to plead his innocence, just got too tight, didn't he, on Abu, and he just needed to be touch tight, get himself nice and low, look at the ball. He didn't, he got far too tight to Abu, and Abu's just used his body just to roll him, and in the end Joe Gubbins just drags him down.
Joe Gubbins, described by Kevin Mayer as excellent in his pre-match press conference. You can hear that on the club feed on BBC Sounds. You can also hear, as I say, that Harry Taylor interview on the Fans Football phone-in every Friday, 6 till 7. Boston again assess their options. Maguire right-footed, Carson left-footed. I expect to be Maguire with the right foot from right to left. For the far side of the penalty area, headed back infield by John Lewis, but Southend's Miley clearing.
Yeah, just got blocked off. I think it was Harry Boyes dealing with the lad at the back post. He just got blocked. You can't allow yourself to get blocked in there. He needs to be side on. He squared himself up. He couldn't see what was going on behind him, and as he tried to back off, he just got blocked by the Boston player.
Harry Boy's been a lot quieter since the goal as well. Something Paul Hurst has clearly identified and wanted to manage. Edge of the penalty area from the throw-in, and Miley with a toe poke away for Southend, but Morgan Richards wins it back for Southend. Andy Dallas with the touch taken off him by Carson, so it will be a throw-in for Southend in their own half. Last 5 minutes of normal time, still Boston 1, Southend 1.
Yeah, I think it'll be something Kevin will certainly highlight at half-time, the fact that the Blues on a whole, since Boston got back into this game, they've been second to the ball. They haven't won their lion's share of possession, and it's been Boston that have been bossing the tempo, and certainly they've had the territorial advantage.
Scott Morris's throw spins down the right wing. Teal with the booming header. Scott Morris gains about 15 metres. With Scott Morris again. Options in front of him. Ollie Coker closest. Andy Dallas and Kendall to aim at down the right wing on this near side. Kevin Mayer, hands folded. Edge of the technical area. Paul Hurst, hands in pockets on this cold Lincolnshire afternoon. Scott Morris's throw by Carson. And Boston will keep this in. Maguire into John Lewis. He's able to get the ball out of his feet really quickly, and has spotted Lavinier running down the right wing against Boyes. Infield to Arbu, who's able to turn into the penalty area, wants it on his left foot to shoot, but blocked by Harry Taylor. And Southend survive another scare. Can they get on the counter though? Coker with a quick ball from right to left, but the goalkeeper Wogan out quickly out of his penalty area to fire that downfield, and as it bounces in Ndengendi's penalty area, he picks that up. Still 1-1.
Unfortunately, Joe Gubbins got caught doing the same thing again. The ball's been put by Lavinier into Abu's feet. Joe Gubbins is far too tight, Warren. You can't afford to get that tight. He's a strong lad. He's got a box of tricks, and all he's done is used his body, used his momentum coming into him. So he's very upright, Joe Gubbins, when he's come into him, and he's just rolled him. That's allowed him to open up the space and get his strike, and he's left Joe Gubbins in his wake. Joe's just got to just go touch tight, just make him play back. If it's good possession, treat it on its merits. Make Abu have a touch and then play back. You've done your defending there. It's all about protecting your goal, and unfortunately on that occasion Joe Gubbins give Abu the opportunity to get a strike.
Gallagher almost forced into a corner for Boston, but able to turn and send the ball down the right wing, but Ben Goodliff with the strong header over Boston's right wing, and they'll get a throw in. We approach the last 2 minutes of this first half. Colchester leading Fleetwood 2-0 at the JobServe Community Stadium. Braintree 4-0 down at York City. As Andy Dallas gets a shove in the back from Morgan Richards. There'll be a free kick for Southend, far side of the centre circle, just inside Boston's half. It was quite a shove.
Yeah, I mean, to be perfectly honest, right from the start, they've been quite aggressive in their defending, haven't they, with Andy Dallas and Charlie Kendall. But and since the goal, they've been starved of any service, really, haven't they? They looked like they was going to have a bit of a field day to start with, but Dallas and Charlie Kendall, the service into them has not been great, but that's testament to the fact that the Blues haven't really enjoyed a lot of possession since Boston got back in the game.
Gubbins with this free kick from left to right towards this near wing. It's Goodliff meets it with a head, but it goes backwards to Scott Morris. Has a run from Coker down the right side of the penalty area. Gets his head up and puts a cross into the middle. Good lift was there, but Sloggett clearing for Boston United. Parallon there first, and back to Gubbins. And Southend looking for some incision into this Boston defence into the last minute of this first half. Coker stayed on this right wing. Wants the overlapping run from Dallas, but doesn't get it, so has to go back to Harry Taylor.
It was a great header from Sloggett, wasn't it, in his own penalty
Scott
area.
Morris has found a way to Kendall in the penalty area, can keep it alive for Southend. Might fall to Boys on the volley with the left foot. Oh, we've gone away from Teal. And it will be a corner kick. Boys must be thinking, where is that goal going to come? And it was Teal who got his body in the way. It was spinning towards the left side of goal. I thought it might have been inside the post, but it's just outside, and it's a first corner kick for Coker, who gets some rapturous support from the fans on the far side.
Yeah, Teal probably saved that going out from a goal kick as well. I think that was flashing across the face of goal as well. But as you say, it does give Blues this opportunity from the corner.
He'll be right-footed from the left corner. He'll swing towards the byline. Oh, James Westgate, the man in the middle, is having a quick word with Ben Goodliff and Oyston Gallagher. 3 minutes of added time to come at the Jatemans before we go in for the half-time break. The sun getting lower in the sky. Can Southend raise their hopes going into the break? Ollie Coker with this corner, going towards the near post. Linnell John Lewis with the header away. Referee spotted something else, and it will be a free kick for Boston in their own penalty area. Still 1-0.
I think it was given against Andy Dallas or Joe Gubbins, one of the two. They was both in and around that near post area. But just looking at that, I mean, he had a word with the lad from Boston and Ben Goodliff, and then he didn't look at them once when that corner come in. Yet that's where all the pushing and pulling was going on, was between Goodliff and I think it was Oyston, wasn't it? Oyston Gallagher.
Yeah. In the Premier League, Burnley have equalised against Tottenham. Manchester City have a 2-0 lead over Wolves, with Brighton leading Fulham on the road 1-0. All those scores on the BBC Sport website, as well as all your National League scores as well. 3 games postponed today due to waterlogged pitches from the heavy rain across the country earlier in the week. As Wogan takes his free kick from right to left, the Boston United lone goalkeeper. Scott Morris with the header for Southend. Takes a touch. I think he wanted a foul of a drag back from Hill, but referee not giving it. It's a throw in for Boston just beyond the halfway line, and they're left wing on this near side. Carson looping towards John Lewis, but Taylor poking a boot ahead of him. It's Parallon drifts in to collect the ball. It's somehow poked away by Cav Miley. The ball to Carson, Southend. Arbo. The ball's taken away from him. Parallon trying to turn away, but Boys sneaking in. It's a real mess in the midfield, but Southend able to take it under control. 1 minute left of the additional time. Gubbins to Parallon down that left wing. Has Boys in front of him and pokes it forward. It's a 1-2 as he drifts in field. Checks back. Sloggett will post it into Maguire, but have Miley winning it back, and Southend on the attack. Boys with the cross out to the far wing. Scott Morris puts it into the middle, but cleared away by Gallagher. Linnell John Lewis with the touch, and Maguire trying to drive down the left wing, but Taylor staying with him. Oh, Maguire's got beyond him though. He's to the left side of the penalty area, wants to put it into the middle, but Goodliff in the right place to block it, and Cav Miley able to clear. Southend United avoiding a scare on that occasion. 20 seconds left.
Yeah, he did so well, Maguire, to be perfectly honest. He was being chased down by Harry Taylor, but full credit to the midfield player. He managed to hold off Harry Taylor and get his crossing, but eventually Blues get it cleared, but still more defending to do as we go into the final few seconds.
If you're joining us from the Colchester United game, Boston United 1, Southend United 1 at the Jatemans Community Stadium, and that is the half-time whistle, and it'll be Southend that will cut the frustrated figures going into the break, having led after 19 minutes for a brilliantly constructed move down the left wing. A first-time cross from Boys, met by Andy Dallas's header for his first goal since the end of October. But after 9 minutes, Southend then twitched off and allowed Boston to put a really intricate moves together, the likes of Arbo and Hill putting it in to Linnell John Lewis, the top scorer for Boston United. And Glenn, there have been times Boston getting to those second balls, they've been taking the game to Southend.
Yeah, lost far too many battles, Blues, since they'd the leveller from Boston for me. You know, to start with, you know, they've come into this game brimming with confidence. We know that. They got themselves in front with a super move down the left-hand side and a great goal from Andy Dallas. And it looked like, for all intents and purposes, Blues were going to get a second goal. But suddenly, from nowhere, Blues give the ball away on the halfway line. Andy Dallas was the man that actually gave the ball away. It's transferred up the other end, and Blues fell asleep and allowed John Lewis to equalise from Boston. And since that time, as I said, they've lost far too many battles, Blues. And Kevin was cutting a frustrated figure on the touchline. You could see he was annoyed with what was going on the pitch. Blues have got to get back. You know, in game when you're doing well, Warren, you do well from getting the basics right, and Blues have got to go back and make sure they start winning those individual battles out there in the second half. Clearly they have the quality to win this game, absolutely no problem. But big half-time team talk coming up for Kevin.
We'll go straight over to Victoria Polly. Text 81333 or WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Start your messages with the word Essex on this cold afternoon in Lincolnshire. Southend United, they've been a bit cold in front of goal and struck back with a frostbite. But the Boston United on a sharp attack as we go in all square. Who will warm up in the second half? Half time at the Jatemans. Boston United 1, Southend United 1.
Play BBC Essex.
Stop asking your toaster to play BBC Essex. You need something way more intelligent. Like me.
All this week with me, Sonia Watson, at breakfast, you could win a smart speaker to make listening to BBC Essex even easier. The phone lines will open when you hear the smart speaker say,
"Wake up and win a smart speaker."
Tune in to breakfast every weekday to find out more. You must be 18 or over. Full terms and privacy notice at bbc.co.uk/win a smart speaker.
Win me and I'll play BBC Essex. And I'll never burn your toast.
Victoria Polly.
BBC Essex Sport.
Afternoon, it is 8 minutes to 4 here at the Community Stadium. It is Colchester United 2, Fleetwood 0. Goals from Kyrese Lisby and Micah and Bick in the first half, giving the U's the lead, but to be honest, they could be 4-0 up by this point in our game. On 95.3 FM and DAB, it is Boston 1, Southend United 1 in the National League. Southend taking the lead through Andrew Dallas, but pegged back by a goal from Linnell John Lewis. He always pops up, doesn't he? 81333 on the text if you want to get in touch with your thoughts so far. 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp. Start your message with the word Essex. That wind seems to have picked up again here at the Community Stadium, where the blue skies are starting to darken and the floodlights taking full effect as well. If you did miss us a bit earlier on here, the news ahead of kick-off and ahead of this game getting underway is that there are some more visitors at the Community Stadium today who were alongside the chairman and owner Robbie Cowling before the game and before the fans are in the stadium, and Mitchell B. Rees, who is taking charge of the sale of the club. So if you head to BBC Essex Sport on X, you'll see the photo that we posted a little bit earlier on, and it looks to be similar characters to those who we saw here in November in the 2-0 defeat by Bromley. There were some prospective buyers perhaps taking things in at the Community Stadium. So we will bring you as much as we can and as much as we can find out about that situation here on BBC Essex Sport. But let me take you through the half-time scores and the scores from what has already happened today. Earlier on in the Premier League, it finished West Ham 3, Sunderland 1 at the London Stadium. Half-time scores: Burnley 1, Spurs 1. Spurs did take the lead through Mickey van der Ven, but they've been pegged back just before half-time there. And it's Fulham 0, Brighton 1 and Manchester City 2, Wolves 0. Another goal for Semenyo after his signing from Bournemouth. Later, Bournemouth are at home to Liverpool. Scottish Premiership, Aberdeen 3, Livingston 2, Falkirk 2, Hibernian 0 and Motherwell 2, Kilmarnock 0. Championship full-time scores from earlier: Middlesbrough 4, Preston 0 and Millwall 4, Charlton 0. Half-time scores: Birmingham 1, Stoke 0. Blackburn 1, Watford 1. Goalless between Bristol City and Sheffield Wednesday. It's Hull 2, Swansea 0. Leicester 0, Oxford United 1. QPR 1, Wrexham 0. And Sheffield United 2, Ipswich 0. Earlier in the Women's Super League, it finished Chelsea 0, Arsenal 2. And in League 1, it finished the leaders Cardiff 1, Stockport 1. Huddersfield 1, Bradford City 0, and Plymouth 1, Luton 0. Half-time scores: Blackpool 1, Northampton Town 0. Goalless between Bolton and Leyton Orient. It's Doncaster 2, Wigan 0. Port Vale 0, Exeter City 1. Reading 1, Barnsley 1. Goalless between Rotherham and Wimbledon, and Stevenage and Mansfield. And it's Wycombe 0, Peterborough United 1. Kyrell Lisby, Kyrese's identical twin, on the score sheet in that one. League 2, Barnet 3, Oldham 2 is a full-time score from earlier. A late winner for Barnet at the Hive. And Notts County 1, Crewe 0. Half-time scores: goalless between Barrow and Crawley. Bromley 0, Swindon 1. That one is first against second. Cambridge 0, Tranmere 1. Cheltenham 0, Grimsby 1. You know about Colchester 2, Fleetwood 0. Harrogate 0, Chillingham 0. MK Dons 3, Shrewsbury Town 0, a hat-trick for Callum Patterson. Goalless between Newport and Chesterfield. Salford 1, Bristol Rovers 0. And Walsall against Accrington Stanley is goalless. In the National League, Aldershot against Carlisle was postponed. Altrincham 1, Borehamwood 0. You've heard Boston 1, Southend 1. Commentary of the second half to come. Brackley 0, Hartlepool 0. Eastleigh 1, Halifax 2. Gateshead against Wealdstone was called off. Morecambe 0, Solihull 1. Rochdale 2, Truro 0. Ian Henderson on the score sheet there. Tamworth against Sutton is goalless. And it was postponed between Woking and Yeovil. We brought you score updates of this one in the first half. York 4, Braintree 0. A really bad first half for Braintree Town. Ollie Pearce with 2 of those goals in the first half for York, the National League leaders. And that looks to be a difficult day for Braintree Town at the LNER Community Stadium today so far. In the cricket, let's have a look at this between England and Sri Lanka. Second ODI taking place. Just checking that my screen is up to date with the latest from that one, because that looks like there is longer to go than there should be at that point of the game. So let me double check. Yes, it is behind. England need just 20 runs to win now. They've got 6 overs to do it in. They are 200 for 5 in that match. And the standout scores for England: Joe Root scoring 75 before he was out LBW. Captain Harry Brook was also out LBW for 42. It's Joss Butler and Will Jacks in at the moment for England, looking to steer them to victory, having lost that first ODI. So that brings you up to date with things there. As I'm just told, there are 6 shy of 5,000 being here at the Community Stadium today. 4,994 with 79 having made that long old trip from Fleetwood. Let me tell you about the local half-time scores then for our Essex sides, if I can do so. Do my best to bring those to you. Hopefully the team in the studio perhaps could just ping those over to me on email, and I can get them out on air, while those 5,000 almost people here in the stadium all on their internet, and it's making things a little bit difficult here as we wait for second half of Colchester United against Fleetwood. And as well, we've got Southend United at Boston to bring you more score updates on that game involving Braintree at York as well. So that's all to come here on BBC Essex Sport, on air until 6 o'clock. So time for your thoughts as well here on the programme. Good to hear from some of you last night on the BBC Essex fans phone-in, letting us know about your teams and your thoughts on your team. Let me bring you those half-time scores. In the National South, it is Hall Horsham 0, Chelmsford City 1. Isthmian Premier, Averley 2, Cray Valley 0. Brentwood a goalless against Dulwich Hamlet, also goalless for Billericay Town at Chatham, and for #United at Welling, while it is Whitehawk 1, Canvey 1. I think that was a full time from earlier on. Isthmian Premier, Bowes and Pitsea 2, Wroxham 0, Concord Rangers 0, Newmarket Town 1. Grays against Stanway Rovers is goalless. Malden and Tiptree a goal down at home to Lowestoft Town. It's Mildenhall Town 1, Haybridge Swifts 0, Redbridge 2, Tilbury 1, Waltham Abbey 0, Brightlingsea Regent 1, and Whittam against Takeley is goalless. Bring you the full-time scores from the Thurlow Nunn divisions, the Spartan South Premier Division as well. Harlow in all sorts of trouble off the pitch in that division, and we'll have everything that's been going on in the Essex Senior League as well for you here on BBC Essex Sport. It is 4 o'clock.
BBC Essex Sport.
Good afternoon to you from Victoria Polly on BBC Essex Sport, where Colchester United are on top in League 2 against Fleetwood.
Left-footed into the 6-yard box, header, and the user in front. It's a header by Kyrie Lisby, but that's a fine near post finish. It had power, it had direction, and Jay Lynch didn't stand a nerve. Lisby scores, the U's 1, Fleetwood Town 0. Tavidi powers past his man into Mbick, quick turn, beautiful goal. He just keeps on doing it. Micah Mbick, confined space inside the penalty area after a devastating run by Samson Tavidi down the right hand side. Such a smart turn, and then casually puts it in the corner of the net. Colchester United 2, Fleetwood Town 0.
And it could have been more as well. Second half commentary on the way in the National League. Southend United got themselves in front, but they're all square at the break.
Well, maybe they get to Parallon, who's gone beyond Morgan Richards for Boston. Now into Harry Boyes. He'll get there before it goes over the byline. First time cross aimed at Andy Dallas. 1-0 Southend United. Andy Dallas's first real sniff at goal with his bloody nose. And he finds the bottom right corner and he scores his first goal in 14 games. And how good that will feel for Andy Dallas. Boston United 0, Southend United 1.
Then Linnell John Lewis popping up with the equaliser there. So Southend United will be looking to get themselves back in front. Commentary on the way, also keeping tabs on Braintree Town, who are having a bad day in the National League. They trail by 4-0 at the leaders York at half-time. Time to go our separate ways then for second half commentary. 103.5 FM and Freeview 716 for Colchester United 2-0 up against Fleetwood, and on 95.3 FM DAB and the BBC Sport website and app, it's Southend United who are 1-1 at Boston. It's BBC Essex Sport and it's 3 minutes past 4.
BBC Essex Sport.
Welcome back to the Jakeman's Community Stadium, where darkness starting to descend here in Boston. Southend United and Boston United all square at 1-1. Floodlights starting to come on. This rather new build stadium, which they are continuing to build. The South Stand still being built at the moment. My summariser, former Blues midfielder Glenn Pennyfather, and I had a bit of time to wander around the town before kick-off. We went to the probably the biggest landmark in Boston, St Boltoff's Church, the tallest parish church in the country. On a bright day like this, you can see it from Norfolk. And I climbed up the tower, 81 metres up, 209 steps up, and Glenn Pennyfather, I reflect on that first half, the way I felt having got to the top. A bit tired and a bit laggard.
Yeah, I could reflect on what I did. I had a coffee. So, you know,
I think you made the right decision.
Yeah, after the equaliser, you know, I could have done with a coffee, to be perfectly honest. And but Blues have got to come out firing in this second period. It's easy to get lulled into when you're in a good vein of form and you're playing well. And we mentioned at the start of the game that how many players are in form at the moment. and performance had been great over the last couple of games. You go a goal ahead and you think, well, we've got it made again today, but you don't realise, that's when the hard work starts. You've got to make sure you're at it every second of the game, and they've got to go out there in this second period. They've got to make sure, because they have made it scrappy, Boston. We've got to say that they have made the game scrappy, but that's how they want it. They've got themselves back into the game because Blues did fall asleep, but Blues have got to roll their sleeves up here. They've got to get back in the 5th or 6th gear and make sure they win these battles against their opponents, and then make their quality tell in the final third. Lots to play for. Huge 45 minutes coming up.
You would not know from this performance Boston United carrying the third worst form over the last 6 games into this game, with only 2 draws and 4 losses, only 5 goals scored, 10 conceded. If it stays like this, they'll be driving up those ranks. Both the teams out, with Boston United in their yellow shirts, black shorts and yellow socks, playing from left to right. The goalkeeper in a patterned white shirts and shorts and grey socks. Southend in their blue shirts and shorts and white socks, playing from right to left. The goalkeeper in all green. No changes at the break, so Ndengendi in goal for Southend, Taylor, Goodliff and Gubbins in the back three, Scott Morris on the right, Boys on the left, Miley the captain in midfield, Coker and Parallon also in the attacking midfield, with Kendall and Dallas leading the line. Boston with a 4-2-3-1. Debut goalkeeper Wogan on loan from Stockport County between the sticks. Lavinier, Gallagher, Teal and Carson in the back four. Richards and Sloggett, the captain, in front of the defence. Abo on the right, Hill on the left, Maguire in the 10 and John Lewis leading the lines, having scored today to draw things level. Floodlights on. We're underway for this second half. Goodliff with a clearing header for Southend towards the centre circle, but met by Lavinier, and Boston able to send this down the left wing, but Taylor chipping over the top to Cav Miley. Now look, Glenn, to get that composure back straight away, and composure and acceleration. As it falls to Miley, far side of the centre circle, Boys on his left. He's drifted very far infield, Harry Boys, throughout this game, and Arvo had to quickly track to get back to him as Southend work it towards their goalkeeper. Exchanges passes with Ben Goodliff, returning to the side, having served his 4-game suspension from the red card against Braintree Town in that Boxing Day derby. And Ndengendi's kick from right to left by the head of Marcel Lavinier. Bounce out of play, and it'll be a throw-in for Southend. 57 seconds into this second half. Glenn, bright start.
Yeah, I mean, they would have spoken about intensity, they'd spoken about tempo at half-time, and then they would have certainly spoke about being competitive and making sure that they win their challenge. So they lost far too many battles for me once Boston had got back into it. But Blues have, well, up until that pass from Ben Goodliff.
Goodliff a pass to no one.
Yeah, Blues had started the second half steadily.
Well, Lavinier almost saw the ball trickle out of play, but spin this one towards the middle of the field as Sloggett attempts to play it out to the left, but Scott Morris on it for Southend, and they're on the attack down the right wing on the far side. Harry Taylor. It's found Kendall on the right side of the penalty area. He'll carry this into the corner. Teal and Carson for company. Deflection off the heels of Teal. A nice little rhyme, and it'll be a throw-in for Southend.
Yeah, did as well as he could really. Charlie Kendall didn't have no other options, did he, bar to win either a corner or a throw-in. Eventually he wins the corner off the defender Teal.
Scott Morris to take this throw-in in front of a banner in the northeast corner which says "We are Boston." As the Southend fans start to make themselves known. I was told 550 travelling today. Scott Morris's long throw will find the edge of the 6-yard box. Parallon helps it on with a header. Boys with a follow-up shot. It goes back to Cav Miley and headed away by Marcel Lavinier. And 2 big chances for Southend, but they've got to be wary of this Boston United break. As a sliding tackle comes in from Taylor, nearly took out the assistant. Had to go Frank Maguire, but the referee pulls this back on an initial foul from Ken Arbo, Glenn.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great challenge in the end by Harry Taylor, but it was a foul by Andy Dallas, probably an important one as well, one that you needed to make. Andy Dallas picks up a yellow card for that challenge on a boo, but again, Blues in that penalty. It happened a couple of times in the opening period as well, in the early stages. The fact that Blues had the ball in the penalty area, and there was some great blocks by Boston, and it's happened again. I think it was Harry Boys had the first strike with his right foot that got blocked, and then it popped out to Cav Miley, and he drilled it in. I don't know whether it was goal bound or not, but it smashed against one of the defenders of Boston, and eventually they clear their lines. But Blues causing a few problems early in this second period.
Harry Boys and Cav Miley, well over a year since Cav Miley scored. Harry Boyes approaching 4 years. Carson with the free kick from right to left. As Taylor climbs to meet it. It is Boston that will bring it to ground. Maguire able to turn away from Miley. He's on the D, edge of the penalty area, but taken off him by Southend's Coker. To Boyes on the edge of his own penalty area. Lifted down the left wing. But Carson stayed on the right side and will guide that back to Wogan, the keeper. His first time kick onto Cav Miley's head. And now Joe Gubbins following up. Can only push it out of play. There'll be a throw-in. I should say Altrincham have doubled their lead over Boreham Wood as well in Greater Manchester.
Yeah, he's not looked as comfortable today, Joe Gubbins, and I know we've spoken how well he's done, but he's done well centrally. He hasn't looked as comfortable out on this left-hand side of Boo. I said to you in the first half, he got far too tight with the Boo, but even on other occasions when he's had to do some defending, he doesn't look as assured this afternoon so far.
He's had to adjust. He's played across all three positions this season. Scott Morris's pass down the right wing, aimed for Kendall, but intercepted by Carson. They go over in a tumble, but the ball's already over the right wing for Southend, and there'll be a throw-in for the Blues.
Yeah, I think Carson just trying to nick a foul, wasn't he? Threw himself to the floor, and Charlie Kendall tumbles over with him, but never a foul by Kendall.
Scott Morris with another long throw-in. Plenty of space on the outside of the field here at the Jakeman's. Scott Morris to wind up, but has Parallon running down the byline and Coker short. They've both made their runs now, so it will be a long throw-in on the far edge of the 6-yard box aimed at Goodliff, but Boston able to clear as far as Coco. Pushes this to the right corner. Parallon's there. Has an option behind him in Scott Morris, but Coker's there too. Now it's Scott Morris. Parallon, metre in front of him. Back to the man who's looking for 6 consecutive goal contributions. That to Scott Morris with his first time cross. Miley with a glancing header, but it's straight at the keeper, Wogan. Probably no one else really in blue in the 6-yard box to threaten that glancing header. But it's still a good chance for Southend, still 1-1.
Yeah, it's an unusual sight, isn't it, seeing Cav Miley breaking into the penalty area as well, but they was patient Blues. They eventually get the cross in from Gus Scott Morris. Decent enough cross. Miley just didn't get enough on the header, did he? It was a glancing header, and no problem for the goalkeeper in the end.
Gallagher with the clearance from Ndengendi's kick. Miley conceding a foul on the edge of just inside the centre circle, actually, in Boston's half on Maguire. So it will be a free kick for the Pilgrims.
Yeah, he's been a bit of a thorn in Blue's side, isn't he, Maguire? He was instrumental in John Lewis's goal, wasn't he, in the first period? But he pops up in those pockets of space as the 10, as he's wearing 10, as he gets on the ball again, and he's just causing Blues a few problems.
Yeah, really clever player, Frankie Maguire. 3 seasons in the Sheffield United Academy with Harry Boyes. As John Linnell Lewis gets this to Boston's Ubbo. He's into the penalty area, shooting on his right foot, deflected away by Gubbins over the byline, and it's a corner kick for Boston.
Yeah, clever play again. We said that about John Lewis. You give him service, you get that into his feet, he's going to hold it up and he's going to bring people back into play, and he did just that. He just leant into Ben Goodliff, and as big and as strong as Ben Goodliff is, he isn't as big and strong as John Lewis, unfortunately, and John Lewis just set it to the side, and it was a Boo who was running on. Good block in the end by Blues, but some more defending to do.
A 5th goal for York City against Braintree Town. It's looking like a miserable day in Yorkshire for the Iron. Meanwhile, the corner kick from this near wing, Carson left-footed from the right corner, swing towards the byline, it goes across the goal, and a penalty for Boston United. A handball, it goes against Southend. The referee pointed straight to the spot, and the Pilgrims have a chance to take the lead after 7 minutes of this second half.
Yeah, the Cav Miley, I think. Cav Miley's hands are in the hair. When it come, I thought it was a penalty straight away. Did you, Warren? Yeah, I thought as soon as the ball got whipped in, for some inexplicable reason, Cav's lifted his hands, and you could hear the slap, couldn't you, as the ball hit his hands. Referee had no hesitation to point at the spot. No arguing from the Blues whatsoever. And obviously, is it Maguire who's going to be the man?
Frankie Maguire, hasn't scored since the FA Trophy exit in the 3rd round against Tamworth in December. Only 1 National League goal to his name this season, but he's set up one already today, looking to get on the scoreboard here at the Jakeman's in a crucial moment in Lincolnshire. All tied at 1-1, but Frankie Maguire looking to change that from the penalty spot. Referee James Westgate making sure no one else is in the penalty area. There'll be a right-footed penalty kick from Maguire. He takes a deep breath and steps up and smashes it down the middle. And Boston United fans get up to their feet because they might be seeing a sight that they've only seen twice before this season, getting a home win, and that's what they're on course for thanks to Frankie Maguire's penalty. Boston United 2, Southend United 1.
Yeah, it was a good penalty, call as you like, wasn't he? Dispatched it well, Maguire, you have to say that. However, I haven't got a clue what Cav Miley was thinking. At the near post, the ball's been whipped in. It's a dangerous ball. I think the quality of their set plays has been particularly good, Boston. They've put balls in, the Blues have had to defend. I haven't got a clue why he's got his hands up at the near post. It was a clear penalty for me, and as I say, you won't know until you speak and ask Cav Miley what was going through his head. But Blues have got an uphill battle now, down 2-1.
They found themselves behind at Boston United before. They want to turn this around. That's only their third penalty they've conceded this season. The last one would have been at Wealdstone, if my memory serves me correctly. From the kickoff, with Boston leading Southend 2-1 here on BBC Essex Sport within the first 10 minutes of this second half. Throw in for the Blues. Harry Taylor smacks the ball down to the ground. A little bit of frustration there, but Southend with possession. Scott Morris's throw in, met by a Boston header, but Cav Miley will keep that alive for the Blues.
Yeah,
As now John Lewis has found a way to Arbo. He's got Frankie Maguire making a crossfield run. Arbo might take it on himself, but a heavy touch under the pressure of Taylor. Sees it go back to Goodliff, help it back to Ndengendi. Harry Taylor going down momentarily. Back on his feet but not running comfortably as Boston get back into possession. John Lewis's touch is heavy, straight to Southend's Cav Miley, far side of the centre circle, over the halfway line now, plays it laterally to Leon Parallon, who changes direction, threaded to Charlie Kendall, on the turn, Parallon is there first, Harry Boyes on the left side of the penalty area, will take it on himself, he'll play it across the penalty areas, across everybody, and that will go over the right wing on the far side. No one else could touch it. Scott Morris is down and Harry Taylor just beyond the halfway line. And Southend United almost crumbling here.
Well, if Gus Scott Morris wasn't injured, I think he's holding his left hip. I think he's holding his left hip. Harry Taylor is back on his feet, although it doesn't look comfortable. But that's a tap in at the far post for Gus Scott Morris. If he was okay, if he wasn't sat on the floor with an injury, he would have scored then, because that was a wonderful ball. We've seen some good quality from Harry Boyes from his crossing this afternoon, and that was a great ball, drilled right across the face of everybody. As I say, Gus Scott Morris would have benefited from that, but unfortunately he's flat on his back, just inside the Boston half, being treated by John Gowans. But we are going to see some changes, I'm sure. I've just looked away to my left hand side. There are subs warming up. Kevin called one or two of them back.
Sam Austin's down.
Yeah. We'll wait and see. Certainly Kevin is going to make some changes.
Scott Morris is on his feet. I noticed Marcel Lavinier of Boston just on his back performing some exercises, just keeping himself loose and limber. It is one of those games, very physical game.
Yeah,
requires a lot.
You know what you're going to get from Boston, don't you? It's going to be physical. They're fighting for their lives, they're fighting for points.
Attendance announced as 2,281. I was told by Southend, approximately 550 travelling Southend fans. Not a lot for them to cheer in this second half though. Southend look to draw themselves back level. Were behind at Roots Hall in September. Late on, and got the penalty 2 minutes later. Candy Dallas converted after Jack Bridge's miss. It's Goodliff, sends this downfield. Kendall can't win it from Boston's Gallagher. Maguire attempts to bring it under control. Under pressure from Southend's Miley. It has Hill on the left wing. To slog it, wearing that red captain's armband for Boston. But under pressure from two Southend players who force him backwards. And now Leon Parallon is really driving forward, Glenn.
Yeah, but you can't do it on your own. That's the thing. And he's closed down. He's closed down fast on a sprint, but then he's just played out onto the right-hand side. Nobody's closed down with him.
Maguire toying with Gubbins for Boston. It's into the midfield with Sloggett. He's on his own. Now out to the right wing with Maguire, who's got space to whip in across with his right boot. Aims for the far post. Linnell, John Lewis! And it's the third for Boston United. You could see that one coming. Maguire with the space on this near side. John Lewis will not miss those headers from the edge of the 6-yard box. Nothing Ndengendi could do. And Southend United's afternoon in Lincolnshire is falling apart. Boston United 3, Southend United 1.
Well, the two players for Boston United that have been really influential since they got that equaliser is the lad Maguire and Linnell John Lewis, and they're the two players that are involved in that. Blues all at sea with their organisation at the back. I don't know what happened there, because Sproggett's running the middle of the park at the moment. He's picked the ball up, he strokes it out, and Maguire's on this right hand side with as much space as you like. The space we was talking about that Harry Boyes had in the opening stages of the first half. He's out here, Maguire, and it's an absolute peach of a cross with his right foot. He's bent it round the face of everybody to that far post, and where was the marking, Warren? Because there was nobody near Linnell John Lewis when the balls come to us. Everybody seemed to stand still, and except John Lewis, and he said, thanks very much, I'll just nod that into the back of the net to give us a 3-1 lead. Terrible defending from Southend United, really was. I mean, we see that on the first goal. It was, goodness knows what happened the second, with Cav handballing it, and then we're going to see some changes at Blues now. Slabby's come on,
Charlie Kendall making way for Slavy Spazov, and Cav Miley making way for James Morton. So double changes for Southend United as they have a real mountain to climb in the flat county of Lincolnshire. And I should say John Linnell Lewis's career tally has been doubled in terms of goals in one afternoon.
Yeah, and I suppose, in many ways, you miss Nathan Ralph in those situations because of his organisation, in being captain, him understanding the shape of the defence. Goodness knows what happened here on this Blues left-hand side, because there seems to be 2 or 3, maybe 4 Blues players. Probably you could put a postage stamp on all 4 on the edge of the box, and nobody wanted to come out and close Maguire down. Eventually Harry Boyes stepped out, but it was far too late because Maguire got the ball out of his feet, and it was, you have to say, what a fantastic ball in for John Lewis, and he only needed to get his head on it to give Boston the extra goal.
Frankie Maguire having a fantastic game against Southend.
Yeah, so influential. Blues just haven't been able to deal with it since the goal. I mean, they got the goal, and as I said, for all intents and purposes, Blues looked like they was going to go on to get the second goal. But since Boston got that equaliser, and when Blues completely fell asleep, Boston have run this game.
Another 3-1 score. FC Halifax Town leading Eastleigh by that score on the south coast. 1 goal in the second half that they scored,
which will put them above Blues, I think. It
would at the moment, yeah. I've got the league table here. So as it stands, Southend United will remain on 45 points. Halifax Town will go up to 47 and leapfrog Southend into those positions. Hartlepool United, it's worth bearing in mind, they are 2 points behind, but they are drawing 0-0 at the moment. So Southend's place in the playoff positions really at risk at the moment, but they do have those games in hand. But as Glenn said earlier, you'd always rather have the points.
Yeah, I mean, it's old saying in football, isn't it? Rather have the points than the games, but you worry about the game you're involved in at the moment, and Blues don't seem the same side that we've watched at York City a couple of weeks ago, Saturday, and then the game in midweek against Eastleigh. It just doesn't seem the same team, does it?
No. We are over the hour mark, 62 minutes played. Boston United 3, Southend United 1 here on BBC Essex. Southend undefeated since their trip to Tamworth just before Christmas. Harry Boyes has a throw-in for the Blues and the left wing on this near side. As Gallagher struggles to keep it in play under the pressure of Spazov. It has been forced out. The referee has the throw-in. The linesman
didn't even flag. The linesman didn't even flag. The referee's given that as a throw-in. Harry Nerthy can see it. He's more or less in the middle of the pitch. The linesman didn't flag, but the referees give a throw-in to Southend.
So Boyes advancing about 25 metres down the wing. Short to Parallon. Has James Morton, the substitute, behind him. Joe Gubbins in the middle of the field. All the Southend outfield players in the Pilgrims territory. Coker on the right wing. One touch from Scott Morris into Taylor. That's lifted to Dallas, right side of the penalty area. He's able to keep this in, but he hasn't won the throw-in. Tried to win it at Carson. The last touch was the number 9 for Southend, and it will be a throw-in for the home side next to their left corner in their half, far wing.
Tried to flick it, didn't he, off Carson? Got it all completely wrong, Andy Dallas, unfortunately, and he just runs out of play.
And a throw-in from the far wing in front of those Boston fans, but Southend winning possession back. Spazov attempting to play into Scott Morris, but cleared. Although no one else in yellow there. Habbo busting a gut to put Gubbins under pressure, but hasn't Deng and D. And is able to poke it to Goodliff, despite Linnell John Lewis bearing down like a lion about to attack its prey.
Second again, Blues. The ball's dropping in the middle of the park. The first header's not being challenged. It's dropping in the middle of the park, and Blues just not winning any of those second phases.
Morton back to Goodliff. Into Gubbins. Southend needing to find another gear in their game. Boys infield to Dallas. Slavi Spazov, as they say, on the field. Can he be a difference for Southend? Boys has found Parallon in space on the edge of the penalty area. Will take this on with the right foot. The ball spins, but Sloggett able to clear away as it looped into the penalty area. Scott Morris, right side of the penalty area. He'll put his cross into the middle. It's beyond Boys. It's out to Dallas. There might be a handball. Referee hasn't spotted that. The referee's bonus whistle pointed to the penalty spot. Ken Arbo put his left hand up to take the ball away from Andy Dallas, and it's a penalty to Southend United. Can they, for the first time this season, score a penalty?
What is it today with this afternoon with players thinking they can put their hands up and handball it in the penalty area? Kennabu has done exactly the same. Not obviously it's not from a corner, but he's lifted his hand for apparently no reason whatsoever. I mean, Andy Dallas didn't look. It wasn't the best of controls by Andy Dallas, and he could have challenged with his head, but he just patted the ball away from him, didn't he? Do you know what? I thought the referee had missed it. He took a long time. He took a second.
But to describe it, Scott Morris's cross, pretty much on the byline, outside the penalty area on the right side, out to the left, middle of the penalty area. Andy Dallas took it under control of his chest, and Ken Abbo running across him, put his left arm out and struck the ball, and the referee, after a moment's consideration, decided penalty. And now fans behind Andy Wogan's goal shining the lights on their phones in an attempt to put Andy Dallas off, who's lining this penalty up. He'll be right-footed. Is this a way for Southend back into this game at the Jatemans? The referee, like he did at this our near end, make sure all the players are outside the penalty area. Blows his whistle. Andy Dallas stepping up, right-footed, top right corner. Southend back in this game. Andy Dallas scores Southend United's first penalty of the season, his second game, and the fans on the far side now have something to cheer in this second half. Boston United 3, Southend United 2.
Well, Southend United have been given a lifeline, haven't they, by Kennabu with that handball, and they've taken it. He's dispatched it. A great penalty, by the way. Andy Dallas high to the right-hand side. As you look at the goals, great penalty from Andy Dallas. Good game to win now for Southend. Good game to win. Can they pick themselves up and get something from this game, Warren?
Last week, on Tuesday, Andy Dallas was the first player to record a hat-trick of assists in 10 years. The last player to do that, Michael Timlin. Could he be the first player since Bim Peppel in the FA Trophy to score a hat-trick for the Blues?
Could that be the lift they needed, Warren?
Offside flag against Linnell John Lewis.
Yeah. Could it shake them out of a little bit of a slumber?
Free kick taken quickly out to the left corner, asking Boys to chase, but too much on it as it was thumped from right to left. And it will be a throw-in for the Pilgrims. So 65 minutes played. Boston United 3, Southend United 2.
Still plenty of time.
Plenty of time. And a cracking game here on BBC Essex. On air until 6 o'clock, of course.
Somebody's an injury.
It was Lavinia. I did see him whilst Scott Morris was taking treatment. He was on his back, just doing some stretches.
Yeah.
And now Ben Grist has made his way to the technical area to get stripped off and ready to come onto the field. That would be the first substitution for the Pilgrims.
Yeah, Gus Scott Morris coming over as well. I would imagine that's I would imagine this.
Just getting some refreshment.
Possibly, maybe a couple of painkillers, a couple of paracetamols probably.
Bit of energy gel, all sorts. What else is in John Gowan's bag of medical wonders?
Well, who knows?
The score as it stands, 3-2 here. Southend United back in action after today at the Crown Oil Arena against Rochdale, third time attempting to play that game. Glenn Pennyfather's travelled twice before. I've travelled once.
Yeah.
We're hoping we'll get a game that will finish in that one. That's on Tuesday. I've also got Colchester taking on Grimsby. So here comes the substitution for Boston United. Marcel Lavinia off for Ben Grist. His first appearance since he returned from his loan spell away from the club with Worksop.
And he looked in a bit of distress, didn't he?
Ben Grist.
Clearly a popular figure as well for joining from the Leicester Academy over the summer. Have quite a few players, a strong connection to Leicester City. One former Leicester Academy player among the Southend ranks, Tom Hopper, former Boston United youth, still the youngest ever player to play for Boston United at 15 years old when he made his debut.
No.
Southend win the ball back immediately from the throw-in. Joe Gubbins attempts to put this down the left wing. John Lewis putting his body in the way. His former club York City leading Braintree 5-0 last we heard. Colchester still leading 2-0. Andy Dallas has chased this ball down to the left corner. Infield to Leon Parallon, away from the man. It's over the byline. It was Jordan Richards who was putting the pressure on, and as he played the cross, Jordan Richards putting his body on the line, and it's the first corner kick of the second half for Southend from the near wing. Ollie Coker to take and swing towards the byline.
Yeah, worked the ball well between them, didn't they, Dallas and Parallon. Parallon doing great first touch, and then to just try to get his crossing with his left foot blocked, but it gives Blues the chance in this corner.
Coker and towards the far post and straight to the gloves of Andy Wogan. Not enough venom on that cross.
Never like that though, Warren. He's standing just off his goal line, and he's claimed that. No problem whatsoever. No player anywhere near him. I'd rather see somebody have a challenge on him and the referee deem it a foul than him just claim that and like he's picking a cherry off a tree.
Gubbins fast attempting to find Spazov. Boston now the one struggling to keep hold of the ball as Morton is proving a real figure of composure in the midfield. They'll attempt to win this header against Maguire and John Lewis. It's made its way to Abbo, who's lifted it to Maguire. It's into the penalty area, but Taylor is ensuring he can't get a cross into the middle where Hill was waiting, and Southend back in possession in their own half. Taylor gets it back from Morton, who's calling for it immediately. I mean, you can't miss him in his bright green boots, to be fair. And now Parallon picks it up, taking the ball out the air, plucking it like an apple from a tree. Loads of room for Scott Morris on the right wing, but Gubbins plays it down the middle. Headed away by Teal. Southend's boys into Parallon. Tried a bit of trickery, but won't stop that going over the left wing on this near side. 20 minutes to go.
Not the best choice from Harry Boyes to cushion that header to Leon Parallon, who was under all sorts of pressure with about half a yard of space to play with. Wasn't the best header.
So Brighton were pegs back at Craven Cottage to 1-1, but have responded to now lead 2-1. Meanwhile, Tamworth down a goal to 0 against Southend United. That won't do Braintree any good. That will drop them into the relegation zone. Morton's pushed this over the right wing. He thought Scott Morris was further away, and it will be a throw-in for the home side, just over the halfway line.
Further away? I think he thought Gus Scott Morris was in the crowd. He's hit it that far over the top of him.
Yeah, a fair few Southend fans. Keenan Appiah Forson will be coming on shortly by the looks of things. In the technical area, Scott Morton winning another header, but straight to Boston's Maguire as Abbo. Thought about taking it on, but has Grist on the right wing on this near side. He'll put a cross into the middle. Ball to John Lewis. He's conceded a handball inside Southend's penalty area. Tried to take it under control with the inside of his right arm, and it will be a free kick for Southend. And here comes the substitution.
Why not? It's a trend at the moment, trying to control it with your hand. So John Lewis might as well have
third
a go
time's
as well.
a charm. Yeah. Third time wasn't a charm, I should say. Ollie Coker, the substitution for Southend. Hasn't really been his game, Glenn.
No, I think it's been a scrappy game. I don't think Blues have really had a foothold in it. As I said, first half lost far too many battles for me in that first half, and in the second half it's been a bit of a battle again, really. As again, Boston made it scrappy. They got their 2 goals, and they've got them obviously given them. They got a helping hand from Cav Miley to start with, and they've done the favour back to Blues with Kenaboo giving them the goal back. But still a lot of work to be done by Blues if they're going to get something out of this game.
Morton tracking back to ensure Frankie Maguire doesn't get near the ball. And he's done really well under the pressure of the man who's scored 1 and assisted 2. Does concede a throw-in though. Keenan, you mentioned a scrappy game. They suit Keenan Appiah Forson down to the ground, a substitute on in place of Ollie Coker.
Well, yeah, I mean it calls for a bit of energy.
Throw-in for Southend. Yeah, you were saying, Glenn.
No, I'm saying you need that injection of energy, didn't you? And the fresh legs hopefully will bring that. We know what Keenan's about. I mean, Keenan hasn't been in the side recently, but hopefully he can do something today.
Space opening up for Frankie Maguire, right side of the penalty area, gets his cross in, but blocked by James Morton, and it will be a corner kick.
Yeah, Maguire again, isn't he, causing problems down this right-hand side. He's worked well from that 10 position, hasn't he? He's caused Blues all sorts of problems.
Boston with this corner kick from the right corner on his near side. Carson called over to take it with his left foot, so he'll swing towards the goal wearing golden boots, I should say.
Yeah, you do feel Blues would like them to hurry up a little bit.
No, Brighton's goal has been ruled out, so still 1-1 at Craven Cottage. This corner makes its way to the far post. Ben Goodliff uncontested with the clearance for Southend.
Again, a great delivery, wasn't it? Another good delivery into a dangerous area.
Still 3-2 to Boston, and space has opened up for Carson. This time he's on his right, but into the penalty area, played into the middle for Maguire and cleared away. Teal with the shot, who'd stayed up following the corner kick, and he had a chance on goal inside the 6-yard box but couldn't take it. Now Dallas and Parallon into a Pia Forson, who's put a high boot in, controlled the ball, and the referee has spotted that and given the foul in favour of Boston. It just caught Carson, he says, on his left temple.
Yeah, I think there was a head coming down, a foot coming up, and you get that. This is what way the referee drops it. However, far too easy for Boston to get in again down this right hand side. You've had a runner from them, I think it was Carson on this occasion, who had taken the corner, originally stayed on this side, and that's lack of organisation, lack of communication on that particular occasion, where you should be talking, you should be getting players out to the ball, but Carson has been allowed the freedom to get into the Blues penalty area down this right hand side, and in the end it has to be a great block at the near post, but it's just bad organisation, sloppy defending from Blues again. Far too easy for Boston to get in.
So they have the free kick now, near side of the centre circle. Played across it to Maguire, who lifts it towards the edge of the penalty area. Header not won by Parallon. Will fall to Jordan Richards outside the penalty area. Slog it on his left. This is still Boston in possession. His cross into the penalty area, but straight at Ndengandi. Takes a clatter into Ben Goodliff, but he'd rather that than another Boston player trying to win the ball back. As he passes it out to Morton. Scott Morris on the right wing, first time he's been on the ball in a while. Into Dallas, whose first time pass attempted to a Pia Forson, but misplaced, and into Sloggett of Boston.
Yeah, played up the wrong side though, Warren. He's played it. Gus Scott Morris has played the ball into Andy Dallas, and he's played it the side that favours the defender. You've got to make sure you give him a decent enough ball that he can protect it. He's had to play it first time, otherwise he's going to get clattered.
Hey, what a turnaround at Turf Moor. Burnley 2, Tottenham 1. They were 1-0 down at the break. Colin Ndengandi's kick will bounce out 5 yards away from the left corner flag. Southend chasing right to left, so Boston with the throw-in. Just under 15 minutes left of normal time. Boston United 3, Southend United 2. There's been a little bit of intensity's gone from Southend, Glenn. Feel like they are playing like it's a draw.
Well, you felt like when they got handed that lifeline that you would see an upsurge from Blues and see them really take the game to their opponents, but they've never seemed comfortable in the game since Boston equalised.
Boston winning possession back. It's fired towards the edge of the centre circle. Taylor back to Ndengandi, who this time sends his kick down the middle. Parallon not challenging it. It allows Grist to bring the ball across Southend's left wing. It'll be another throw-in. Lots of throw-ins in this game. As Joe Gubbins lines this one up. He'll loop it towards Slavy Spazov, but Grist intercepting. His header met by Leon Parallon of Southend. Boys tries to keep that in, but it was off the back of his head. It goes over the byline. It'll be a goal kick for the Pilgrims.
And that kind of sums it up really this afternoon. And it's gone back to Joe Gubbins. He's helped the ball down the line. There's no space. There's probably 2 or 3 Blues players in a really small area being closed down by the Boston defenders, and it's helped up over the top of everybody. Blues get a touch on it, and it rolls out for a goal kick. It kind of sums up what Blues have been like in possession for a vast majority of this game.
Boston United under the guidance of their new manager Paul Hurst has plenty of spells, over 360 games as Grimsby either joint or lead manager. won the National League playoffs twice with Grimsby in 2016 and 2022, so he's a savvy asset that the home side have. And he's putting his imprint on this game with Boston. But he's also being helped, as we've already discussed, with Southend just not really being at the races today. But that could still change with just over 12 minutes of normal time left. The throw in met by John Lewis, but into the path of Southend's Goodley. Parallon can't find a Pyer Forson, but Boston inaccurate with their passing. Gubbins clearing away. Sloggett though wins it back for Boston just over the halfway line. Grist lifts this towards John Lewis. Gubbins meeting it for Southend, but Maguire intercepting. Back to Grist, and now Abbo, whose touch is heavy, and Morton can sneak in. A Pyer Forson turning away, but straight into Sloggett, and there was an initial foul by Abbo on the heels of a Pyer Forson, and Sloggett won it. The referee's given that foul. Free kick to Southend, taken quickly, Glenn.
Yeah, spot on by the referee. It was the initial foul. I mean, the ball was taken off of him by the next Boston player. That's why the crowd was up in arms about it, but it wasn't for that. It was the original challenge.
Fleetwood Town have a goal back at the job serve. It's Colchester 2, Fleetwood 1. Leon Parallon calling for the ball down this left wing from Joe Gubbins. It's straight to his feet. Might be a heavy touch. And a free kick against Southend. Parallon has taken a nibble at Oyson Gallagher on the byline. So free kick for the home side.
Yeah, lots of conversations going away to our left-hand side with Kevin, Darren and Mark. What are they going to concoct?
Well, the options on the bench: Josh Walker, Sam Austin, Jack Bridge, and the Loney goalkeeper from Mansfield Town, Owen Mason. That's fellow League One goalkeeper Andy Wogan, formerly of the Irish League with Drogheda. 43, although he's given the wall away to Slavi Spazov, who's in on goal. Can he put it in? Southend United are level! A massive error from the debut goalkeeper for Boston United. Straight to Slavi Spazov, who gobbles up his first goal since the end of November, and that's got the Southend fans back on their feet and back on level terms. Boston United 3, Southend United 3.
Like buses, isn't they? One comes along and another couple. Here's a helping hand, here's another helping hand, and this time it's the goalkeeper on his debut. Wogan, what was he doing? It's an absolute awful. I think was it a goal kick? That was a free kick, wasn't it? It was a free kick by the byline, and he's just completely miskicked it straight to Spazov. But there's still a lot of work to do for Slavi Spazov. He's got to hold off the defender and advance, and then to have the cool mind to slot the ball home, and he's done just that well. You know, as I say, they've been given two helping hands now, Blues.
Slide tackle from Harry Boyce. Boston United in possession. Abbo's on the edge of the penalty area, shooting right-footed, well wide of the goal. But Southend United have answered those questions put to them by Boston, Glenn.
Well,
they're all the way back.
You know, football never ceases to amaze you, does it? You know, what goes on in the game. You know, Boston have made the game scrappy. They've made it difficult for Blues. They've had a real standout player. You have to say that in Maguire, who looks a really, really good player.
But suddenly very quiet under James Morton's presence.
But suddenly it turns on a sixpence because of mistakes made, and you've got to take advantage of it. Blues have taken that advantage. Now, can they push on again, Warren? Did say it's a good game to win.
It is a great game to win, this one, especially when you look at some of those other scores. I know Halifax are leading Eastleigh 3-2. They're ones that are chasing down Southend. As far as I know, Hartlepool's still 0-0 at Brackley Town, so it would be a big boost if Southend can take this result here.
Slavi Spazov, yellow card.
Slavi Spazov with the yellow card for a challenge. Still appealing to the fourth official and to the referee, but he's the third Southend player tonight that goes into the book. That coming after 84 minutes.
Can Blues have one more slice of luck? Can they?
I mean, that's it. They've been handed those two goals. The first one, the penalty, Abbo's handball, and Dallas, a great penalty, we have to say, into the top right corner. And then Wogan, he had the free kick was on the edge of the penalty area on the left side, on this near side. Tried to play it to, must have been Teal, on the edge of the D, but Spazov was alert to it and pounced straight away.
I don't know if he mishit it or he tried to pass to his centre half. I don't know what he was trying. Whatever he did, he got it completely wrong.
Grist taking it under control. John Lewis into Maguire, trying to get into the penalty area, but Joe Gubbins standing in his way, forces him backwards. Abbo with this cross, bodies in the middle, but Goodliff heads away to Boston's Hill. But his touch is light into a Pia Force, and Spazov can sneak in again. Can he just get there? He will. Ahead of Hill, as the ball will fall to Leon Parallon, turning away from pressure, but he's giving it away to Teal. But now Harry Taylor breaking away. This could be Southend on the break, but they pause, and Scott Morris wants to assess his options. Now there's a Pia Forson, great incisive pass. Harry Taylor's continued his run. He's into Slavoj Spazov, right side of the penalty area, played into the middle. Gallagher puts it over the byline, not quite. It's cleared away, and it'll go back to Harry Taylor. It was Sloggett that had to make that header to keep in. Scott Morris with his cross into the middle, and it is a foul. I don't know how there's a foul in there, because there was no Boston players. There was no Southend players. There were 3 Boston players, all went down around each other, and now the referee's given a free kick to them.
Was it Harry Boyes? Harry
Boyes
was the
nearest.
man that was the most advanced for Blues, and I don't know what referee quite see there, but that was a comedy of errors, wasn't it, on the halfway line? I think both sides give it away about 3 times to each other. Eventually Blues were the ones that benefited, but the referee gives a free kick as the cross is whipped in.
3-3. Can't stop saying it. 3-3. What a game. Oh, here on BBC Essex, Warren Muggleton and Glenn Pennyfather.
3-3 on a game of limited chances.
Well, this is the funny thing. Yeah. In the first half, Boston had 6 shots on goal. They've had three in this second half, and that doesn't include the penalty. Spazov playing the ball down the right wing. Scott Morris tries to get beyond Sloggett, but Boston able to clear their line. Southend have had 11 shots across the game. 4 of them on target in the first half, 3 of them in the second half. So by Southend standards, limited. And they're in possession through Gubbins across the centre circle to the far side of it with Goodliff into a Pia Forson. Scott Morris lifting it to the right wing. He wanted Taylor to make the run, but he's hesitated and it goes over the wing, and it'll be a throw in. Just over 5 minutes of normal time left. Just Morton intercepts. He's like glue alongside Frankie Maguire right now, Morton.
Yeah, I mean, it had to be recognised, didn't it, the fact that Maguire was causing all sorts of problems, and I think, to be perfectly honest, even though James Morton has come on, and as you rightly say, he's probably been detailed to deal with him, Maguire has still caused problems.
John Lewis has the ball taken off his boot by Scott Morris of Southend. Now Taylor to lift this down the right wing. It won't stay in though, and it will be a throw-in for Connor Teal of Boston to take, the former Fleetwood Town man. They aside 2-1 down against Colchester at the Jobsurf. Braintree still 5-0 down at York City. It's ball attempted into Abbo by Southend, but Boys meeting it with his head, and now Joe Gubbins gets his head up. He's asking Spazov to chase this, but Oyson Gallagher reading it well, and will go back to his keeper, whose kick this time is confident. Leon Parallon, you just want him to challenge for a couple more headers, don't you, in those positions?
Yeah, I think what he does, he tries to use his body rather than trying to win a header. He tries to use his body to bring the ball down. You know, that sometimes I've just got to go and head it and win that first challenge.
Morton sliding in, but Maguire for Boston able to attack. Drifting in from the right wing. He's gone down under the tackle of Goodliff, and now he'll be drawn back for that foul, and it is a free kick for the Pilgrims. 30 yards up from the byline, just to the right of the D on this near side.
Yeah, loads of people stretching for challenges. James Morton on the first one, Maguire skipped past that one, then another Blues defender came in, he went round him onto his left hand side. Ben Goodliff then comes in with a siding challenge and he skips round him, but I think he got nicked by the second challenge. I'm not quite sure who that was, but he got nicked by the second challenge, but it does give him an opportunity. And now it's Carson, isn't it, with his left foot.
Well, they've always got either
Carson or Maguire.
Maguire on his right foot or Carson on his left, but Carson's the one placing the ball to the last 3 minutes of normal time.
Yeah,
3-3 at the Jatemans.
Not quite sure what Connor Teal's doing. He's trying to stand in front of Colin to stop. Connor Teal is actually standing in the 6-yard box at the moment, trying to stop Colin lining the wall up. Harry Taylor has now gone in and tried to take
the comical art of deception
into his own hands, and the referee has. He'll probably make up his own rules anyway. But Connor
Teal, the former Leeds United youth man, trying to get into the head of Colin and Ndang Diaz. Carson does a Cristiano Ronaldo, a step backwards from the ball. It's a tight angle, but he's running up to it. He's got a 4-man wall, but he'll drive this left-footed, and he's aimed for the bottom left corner. But there was Colin and Ndang Ndi for the save.
It was a free kick that didn't have a lot of power behind him, and it was straight down Colin's Colin's throw, no problem for Colin whatsoever. I thought we can't see another one like we see at Bath City.
Ball has fallen to Southend's Morton as he plays it across the centre circle. Gubbins wants options, has to go back to Morton, the substitute, into Parallon. Now space for Morton to go over the halfway line. He'll lift it towards the right wing where Scott Morris is waiting. Appiah Forson in front of him. Taylor with the overlapping run. Into Taylor. Hutch is heavy, but it will fall to Appiah Forson. Southend still on the attack. Edge of Boston's final third. To Appiah Forson, looking to get ahead again. James Morton drifting to the middle of Boston territory. Will takes a big bounce into the middle of the field, but Gubbins there.
Hell of a divot.
Morton into Taylor. Scott Morris infield. Appiah Forson hugging the far wing. All the Southend outfield players once again in Boston's half. Now Appiah Forson driving into the middle of the field at pace. Back to Scott Morris, just taken off his toe, and it's straight to Boston United's Frankie Maguire. Grist with the run down the right wing. As Boston looks to counter, there's some tired bodies out there though, and only Linnell John Lewis was up for it. Abbo, though, edge of the penalty area, fed by Maguire. Out to the left with Hill. Has an overlapping from Carson with the first time cross, but that is far too heavy. Grist will try to stop this from going over the byline, but it does, and it will be a goal kick for Southend United. 40 seconds left. Boston 3, Southend 3.
How long are we looking at?
8 minutes. 8 minutes, and Southend will probably feel. I'm looking at the bodies that were going up for that counter. Boston look tired now.
Yeah, I mean they're putting a shift. You have to say that. New manager Paul Hurst, new ideas, clearly wanting to impress. Obviously, you know, you're looking at the manager bounce as far as Boston are concerned, and they have put a shift in. You have to say that. They've worked really, really hard. They've made life really difficult for Southend. They've made it scrappy, but you have to say, you can see, you know, if they've been making those sort of mistakes all season, they're where they are. That's why, and well, that's why they're where they are at the moment. But it's a situation that can Southend United, with 8 minutes added on, take full advantage.
Substitutions made. Dylan Hill making his way off, but Liam Waldock to come on to midfielders change as we have 9 minutes of additional time. That minute added on because of the substitution late on in the normal 90. So 9 more minutes.
Yeah.
Still Boston 3, Southend 3 here on BBC Essex Sport. Do not switch frequencies. You do not want to miss the last 9 minutes of this game.
Sam Austin, Josh Walker coming on.
Fresh legs for the Blues. That's why you do the changes just into stoppage.
Super sub, is he, Josh Walker?
Super sub. He comes on for Andy Dallas. It was a lot of hard work for him.
Imagine is he going to be Leon? Yeah.
And Leon Parallon makes his way off. Game where he's worked hard, but hasn't quite had the incision he would want. He did have a big part to play in the first goal though.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have them sort of games. You're never going to have the sort of player that Leon Parallon is. He's never going to be every game where he's going to be ghosting past people, making things happen constantly. You know, there's games when you've got to roll your sleeves up and dig in for your side. You know, and that's just part and parcel of being a footballer and being a midfield player.
John Lewis has won the header into Maguire, who gets the cross in before it goes over the byline. John Lewis takes it under control, but stumbling backwards in the penalty area, and Southend Scott Morris able to clear away.
What a great ball he's dug out there, Maguire.
Appiah Forson intercepting for Southend, wants to get on the attack, but intercepted by Carson. They're in Southend territory. He'll lift this towards the edge of the penalty area. It's into John Lewis, and Ben Goodliff has to poke it over his own crossbar to stop John Lewis, who was on his shoulder from bearing down on goal, and it will be a corner kick on this near side.
Yeah, I mean, it was a ball that just drifted over the top of Ben Goodliff, didn't he? And he did well as he's turned. He's had his touch, John Lewis on his chest, and it was just away from him enough for Ben Goodliff to get a foot in and lift it over the top of the crossbar. But goodness me, in the mouth time, isn't it?
It is now.
But Maguire,
2 minutes into the 9 added.
You have to say Maguire's looked a good player, and he's been very
fantastic.
impressive. Very impressive.
Second season for him with Boston United. As this corner comes from the right side with Carson, and it's straight to Ndengendi. He wants to get it out straight away into Josh Walker, straight to his feet with those fresh legs. Abbo trying to drag him back, but Josh Walker's carried it forward. It gets the touch off Abbo, and it will be a throw-in for Southend down their left wing, and a chance to put pressure on Boston and try and push to get that lead back.
Yeah,
late on in the game.
Absolutely, you earn territory. Josh Walker done really well to drive forward deep into the Boston half, and eventually gets his throw in.
Harry Boyes to take this throw. Options around, circling around him. Hummingbirds fluttering around. He's asked to take a couple of steps back. Although he'll try and make those up subtly. The referee blowing his whistle, but play carrying on. Spazov trying to win the ball, dragged down on the edge of the left edge of the penalty area, outside of it, but the ball's gone over the byline. Goal kick for Boston.
Yeah, I mean, he just didn't have any space to work with, didn't he, Slavy? And eventually he falls over and toes the ball out of play for a goal kick.
Still Halifax 3, Eastleigh 2 down on the south coast at the Silver Lake Stadium. Still goalless between Brackley and Hartlepool. So at the moment, Southend still dropping out of the playoff places. Plenty for them to fight for here at the Jatemans. The floodlights shining, darkness descending across Lincolnshire. Pye Forson for Southend, heading into Walker, who was in front of him. Gets it back from the forward, coming off the bench. Boyes into Austin. Lifted to Boyes, who's making the run behind him. Gubbins into the middle. Morton has an option out on the right with Harry Taylor. Has Scott Morris infield, does find him. Pair exchange passes. Struggling to find those spaces down the channels, but Harry Taylor able to head into Walker. Pokes it out to Scott Morris. This is Southend putting pressure on in the edge of the Boston final third. As the ball goes out on Southend's right wing, in the middle of Boston territory. They take it quickly, Glenn.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that might have thrown it in.
Yeah, another throw in for Southend.
Yeah, opportunity to throw it in long, wasn't it? But he's
now he'll take it.
Now he's going to do it this time.
Can he wind something up to bundle into the Boston net? No, he goes short to a Pye Forson. Gets it back. He'll play the cross in. Has to be pushed over the byline, and it is a corner kick for Southend. Only their third of the game. From the right corner on the far side, Harry Boyes to take. As the Southend fans start chanting. At 3-3, 5 minutes of the 9 additional played. This would be the latest of 8 goals. It's a left-footed corner kick. It'll swing towards the byline. As Boyes goes towards the near post. It's across the penalty area by Maguire, and it will trickle over on the left wing this time for a Southend throw-in. Scott Morris running over to take it.
Yeah, I mean, all three of the management are up, just pointing over, making sure Gus Scott Morris is getting over to take this throw-in.
But they bear in mind the counter as well. Joe Gubbins and Harry Taylor staying back, but Ben Goodliff up there as an option. Scott Morris's attempted right-footed cross loops high into the Lincolnshire air, and over the byline will be a goal kick.
Well, they managed to make a hash of that, didn't they? I mean, he's gone short to James Morton. They're under all sorts of pressure. Why didn't just put it in there? I don't know. He's come all the way over from the right-hand side to take a short throw in on the wide on the left. If you're going to come all over there, stick it in the place where it's going to hurt them and it's going to matter. It might drop for you. You go short and something like that happens. James Morton leaves him short again with a pass, and in the end it goes out for a goal kick.
John Lewis able to find Maguire. Attempts to poke it back to John Lewis, but straight to Southend's Boyes. His pass will stay down the left wing. Spazov meeting it. Taking on Gallagher, cuts inside him and draws the foul. A chance for a free kick for Southend. Next to the byline, left side of the penalty area. Harry Boyes stepping up.
Yeah, right ball from Harry Boyes at the right time. Just turn the defence round. You want to get them under pressure. That's where you're going to score a goal up that end. Not play a short pass here. Right ball in the channel. Spazov done great, didn't he? Run beyond everybody to pick up that ball deep in the half of Boston, and then does a little trick, wins his free kick. This is the opportunity, Warren. This is the opportunity for Blues to get a winner.
3-3 at the Jatemans between Boston and Southend. Just under 2 minutes of stoppage time left. Can they do it? As Boyes decides Sam Austin will take it.
Yeah, so they've gone from a left footer to a right footer, so it's going to come in towards the goal now, obviously, rather than bending away.
Sam Austin heads across to Walker, but his header was clever and it's straight at the goalkeeper. That was the chance, perhaps.
Well, it was a sighter, wasn't it? It was a clean header from Josh Walker at the near post, but just not enough on it. It was in the middle of the goal, and the keeper was able to collect.
Another throw in for Southend, just inside their half on the left wing on this near side, in front of Kevin Mayer. Throw in met by the head of Slavy Spazov, and he'll get to the clearance as well. Decides to play into Morton, had the call. Now it's played out to the right. Scott Morris, Taylor with the run in front. And they're going back to Scott Morris as Boston drift across like the tide. Morton across the halfway line into Gubbins. They want to pull Boston from side to side, try and find some space. There might be space for Spazov down the left wing. But Redden intercepted by Richards, although he'll give it straight back to Southend's Joe Gubbins. Into the last minute of stoppage time. Boston 3, Southend 3. With Southend in possession. And Dengendy to lift this towards the right corner. Scott Morris chasing it down. Ball bounces, but it will be straight to the goalkeeper, Wogan. And maybe that was the chance in the last 30 seconds.
Got to leave it outside the area, Warren. If you're going to go long like that over the top, you've got to leave it outside the area.
So now John Lewis has managed to find a way to Maguire. Austin tries to steal it, but Maguire for Boston has found a way to Abbo. Right side of the penalty area, taking on Gubbins. Gets it to the byline. It's Gubbins with the block to make sure it's a corner kick. And this will be the last action, and it's a corner kick for Boston United.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about Blues getting the winners. You don't want to now lose that point that you've got.
They've worked very hard to get back to level terms, having been and really let Boston in. And they take their time, the Pilgrims. Carson, his mud-splattered yellow shirt, sweat dripping off his temple, to step up for this corner on the right corner, left-footed. So swing towards the far post, and Dengendy able to punch away. Austin ensuring it goes away from the penalty area, but Grist will chase it. Maguire with the first time, almost the first time cross, has to check back. Oh, and there's a header across, and the John Lewis can't reach it, and it goes over the byline. As you join us on all frequencies, you join us at a game that is tied at Boston United 3, Southend United 3. We've already played the 9 minutes of additional time, and another corner kick for Boston United, who've had a glance, Linnell John Lewis, at getting a hat-trick.
Slavy Spazov absolutely clattered in the last corner.
Carson with take two from the corner, aims for the far side, and Dengendy able to punch. Apaya Forson putting that out the penalty area, and Sam Austin for Southend taking that out and will thump it downfield. Apaya Forson chasing this one down. It's a real mess. Oh, and it's blocked by Apaya Forson as the kick came in from Wogan. It will be a throw-in for Boston United on their right wing on this near side, and that is the full-time whistle. Southend players collapse to the ground in what has been a Shakespearean saga of a National League game at the Jakeman's Community Stadium. Boston United 3, Southend United 3. Andy Dallas' first goal since the end of October after 19 minutes, and 9 minutes later, then John Lewis, the fawn in the side of Southend, combining with Frankie Maguire to get them level going into the break. And then a disastrous opening 15 minutes going into the, I think 16 minutes after the break, with Boston scoring from the penalty spot with Maguire and then Linnell John Lewis, but then Southend responding for a penalty from Andy Dallas and Slavy Spazov very quickly. Glenn, Southend not the best for a lot of the game, but they did what they needed to do to get a point.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of goals, obviously 3-3 it sounds like a great game, but in all honesty, it was a really scrappy game, wasn't it? And to be fair, Southend United have been gifted a point this afternoon. They've been given a big helping hand by Boston United. I think Boston will be in that dressing room disappointed that they've given Southend a point, and in the end, Southend could have nicked it, or Boston could have nicked it. It's been one of those games. Not the best performance from Blues, but I think in all honesty they'll go happy with that point.
Thank you very much, Glenn. Victoria waiting to hear from you. 81333 on text, so 80032133 on WhatsApp. A game that has taken us to the heights of St Boltoff's Church, to the lows of the flat pennies of Lincolnshire. Full-time Boston United 3, Southend United 3.
BBC Essex,
The home of Essex Sport.
Cuts inside, right-footed, and the substitute has done it with a glorious finish.
Throughout the football season, BBC Essex brings you commentary of every Colchester and Southend game.
Across to Scott Morris on his right foot. What a goal from Scott Morris!
And now you can get all the latest news, insight and analysis on BBC Sounds. Search Colchester United or Southend United and click subscribe.
The home of Essex Sport.
BBC Essex. BBC Essex Sport.
What drama we've had on BBC Essex Sport. It's Victoria Polly with you until 6 o'clock with all the reaction. A 2-1 win for Colchester United over Fleetwood here at the Community Stadium in League 2. Felt the U's could have been up 4-0 by half time, but in the end it was a nervy finish with Fleetwood getting themselves a goal back, and Southend United at Boston going 3-1 down early on in that second half to come back and take a 3-3 draw. Braintree Town, the National League leaders York, have been beaten by 5-0. Ollie Pearce with a hat-trick in that one. All the reaction to those games, all the scores from elsewhere to bring you on BBC Essex Sport. We're on air until 6.
BBC Essex Sport.
It's 4 minutes past 5. Victoria Polly with you on BBC Essex Sport until 6 o'clock this evening. All the scores and reaction on the way for you between now and then. Here at the Community Stadium, Colchester United have extended their League 2 unbeaten run to 6 games, but they haven't made it easy for themselves.
Left-footed into the 6-yard box, header, and the user in front. It's a header by Kyrese Lisby, but that's a fine near post finish. It had power, it had direction, and Jay Lynch didn't stand a nerve. Lisby scores, the U's 1, Fleetwood Town 0. Tavide powers past his man into Mbic, quick turn, beautiful goal. He just keeps on doing it. Micah Mbic, confined space inside the penalty area after a devastating run by Samson Tavide down the right hand side. Such a smart turn, and then casually puts it in the corner of the net. Colchester United 2, Fleetwood Town 0. Ennis, right hand side of the used penalty area, lifts the cross, headed goalwards, saved by Macy, can't hold onto it, hooked away off the line. Fleetwood are knocking on the door. The U's take their corner shot. Kane Vincent-Young gets it back. Right foot drives it in, and it's a lovely save by the keeper. All credit Jay Lynch, getting the faintest of touches to divert Vincent-Young's excellent strike just over the bar. It was a quieter spell this time, but Ethan Ennis, for the second time this season, gives Fleetwood hope, smashing it in from the right hand side. Colchester United 2, Fleetwood Town 1.
So things closer than we anticipated in the second half here. Fleetwood coming back strongly, but the U's holding out for the win and keeping their unbeaten run going. They're back at home on Tuesday evening as well, here taking on Grimsby. Like to hear your thoughts on today, U's fans. Are you worried about the injuries mounting up as well? 81333 on the text, 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp. Start your message with the word Essex. Take you through the League 2 table as well, with the U's 3 points outside the top 7 now. In the National League, it's been a drama-filled afternoon for Southend United.
Well, maybe they get to Parallon, who's gone beyond Morgan Richards for Boston. Now into Harry Boyes. He'll get there before it goes over the byline. First time cross aimed at Andy Dallas. 1-0 Southend United. Andy Dallas's first real sniff at goal with his bloody nose. And he finds the bottom right corner. And he scores his first goal in 14 games. And how good that will feel for Andy Dallas. Boston United 0, Southend United 1. Arbos found Maguire, first time into the middle, Linnell Lewis, John Lewis 1-0, and Boston United thread away through the Southend defence. Linnell John Lewis with a 12th goal of the season, and he probably won't get an easier one than that. Southend United's lead lasting just under 10 minutes. Boston United 1, Southend United 1. Meanwhile, the corner kick from this near wing, Carson left-footed from the right corner, swing towards the byline, it goes across the goal, and a penalty for Boston United. A handball goes against Southend. There'll be a right-footed penalty kick from Maguire. He takes a deep breath and steps up and smashes it down the middle. And Boston United fans get up to their feet. Boston United 2, Southend United 1. Out to the right wing with Maguire, who's got space to whip in a cross with his right boot. Aims to the far post, Linnell John Lewis. And it's the third for Boston United. You could see that one coming. Maguire with the space on this near side. John Lewis will not miss those headers from the edge of the 6-yard box. Nothing Ndengendi could do. And Southend United's afternoon in Lincolnshire is falling apart. Boston United 3, Southend United 1. It's beyond boys, it's out to Dallas, there might be a handball. Referee hasn't spotted that now, the referee's bonus whistle, pointed to the penalty spot, and it's a penalty to Southend United. Can they, for the first time this season, score a penalty? Andy Dallas stepping up, right-footed, top right corner. Southend back in this game, and the fans on the far side now have something to cheer in this second half. Boston United 3, Southend United 2. 40 although he's given the wall away to Slavi Spazov, who's in on goal. Can he put it in? Southend United are level! A massive error from the debut goalkeeper for Boston United, straight to Slavi Spazov, and that's got the Southend fans back on their feet and back on level terms. Boston United 3, Southend United 3.
That third goal might have been a gift for Southend United, but a point is a point. They keep their unbeaten run going and get themselves back in a game that they trailed 3-1 in. Blues fans, like to hear your thoughts at BBC Essex Sport on X, and you can also email essex.sport@bbc.co.uk. Rangy Town fans, you can get in touch as well after a 5-0 defeat at York City, the National League leaders today. That means that gap at the bottom of the National League doesn't get any easier for Braintree Town. Drop into the relegation zone with that defeat. Ollie Pearce with a hat-trick for York. So your thoughts welcome, whether you're one of the 64 that travelled to that game or not. I'm fans. 81333 on the text, 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp, and you need to start those messages with the word Essex. Chelmsford City got themselves a 90th minute winner in the National South to make it back-to-back wins. Adam Crowther on the score sheet there for them as well. We'll round up all the scores from elsewhere across the county for you too on BBC Essex Sport until 6.
Call 0800 111 40 41. Text 81333 and start your message with the word Essex. BBC Essex Sport.
The roads across the county looking okay. We have had issues all day, however. At the Dartford tunnels, there was an accident earlier on in the afternoon. Emergency tunnel repairs being carried out. Issues between junction 1A for Dartford and 31 for Lakeside. Congestion from there back to the Swanley interchange, and also the local routes around Dartford struggling because of that. The work's expected to keep the road closed throughout the day, so don't expect that to be open anytime soon. The right-hand tunnel remains open, however, so long delays back from the Dartford tunnel. Also the usual issues on the M11 London bound approaching junction 4 for North Circular, and busy in Essex